that some artifacts from the old world remain, but so many were destroyed. And I don't believe that they destroyed them. I believe that they have them. I believe these old world items are very much alive and well and are being taken great care of. You wouldn't destroy the incredible technology of the past. You would keep it, and then you would say it's destroyed, and you would use it, and then you would sell it back to the public whenever the time is right, and you would control the narrative. You would say that you created it, and this is exactly what you would do. I believe that this is what has been done.
There's a YouTube channel called My Lunch Break. It's called My Lunch Break YouTube channel. You will get addicted to that shit.
We have an email that was sent to us that I've been saving for today. We expose it all to the world. Buildings, structures that are from the previous civilization in every single state, looking so out of place. Palaces that I believe were originally meant for all of us and have since been taken over. Today, we go and visit a palace from the old world that now holds a new name, calling it the Wisconsin State Capitol Building, located in Madison, Wisconsin, where we are told that this is, of course, the fifth structure to serve as the Wisconsin State Capitol. We have seen this over and over, multiple buildings. We know here that this narrative is 100% repeating. This is not the fifth building on this site, and we all know this. Today, this narrative will be exposed to the world forever. I'm going to put the mainstream narrative into checkmate right now. We are told that in 32 AD, the people from 2,000 years ago were over in Palmyra, Syria, constructing palace cities, stone, marble, and granite columns all over the place 2,000 years ago, exactly like we've shown and gone into great detail about. And then we evolve and we advance so much over the next 2,000 years that we construct the first Capitol building in Wisconsin. And it's a prefabricated wood frame house without heat and without water. So what the heck happened? How can we evolve and advance from stone and granite columns everywhere in the world into wood frame sheds? If you had your eyes closed and your fingers in your ears so far, you would still hear and you would still see that we are not evolving and we are not advancing. We fully understand at this point that an event took place within the last few hundred years that took the previous civilization, an extremely powerful and an extremely advanced group of people, and removed them all. An event that set all of us back to the beginning. Dirt roads, a brand new history. Horses and wagons and outhouses. We are told that the first Capitol building was constructed in 1836, the wood shed. And here is a photo of it, supposedly. And if you ask me, it looks like something that we build today, using the same pathetic vinyl siding that we do today, and then telling all of us this ridiculous story about it. We have shown that the world population, if you go back only a few hundred years, it drops down to basically nothing. Nobody was here in the 1700s, all according to the information that we are given. 1840, 1,800 years after the palace cities in Syria. Nobody was here in the entire state of Wisconsin, not just Madison. Only had 30,000 people in the entire state. And you might say, well, that's because the USA is new. It's a brand new country. We just started in 1776. Well, the same thing is going on in Syria, with a massive spike very recently in the population. Were they a brand new country? No, they were not. Just like we have shown, without even looking at the photos, without looking at the narratives, by only looking at the population data, we can clearly see that a population of nobody. They were not riding around on Seabiscuit and their wagon attached, hauling granite and carving stone, constructing palaces 150 years ago, without a power tool. All better than we do today. And in a much more efficient, faster timeline. 100% something happened based on the data that we are given. Now, in 1860, the entire state of Wisconsin, the whole thing, only had 775,000 people. They didn't even have 1 million people yet. This is 1860. In 1850, only 10 years before that, it drops down to 305,000. So then in 1840, they only had 30,000 people here. This is the entire state of Wisconsin, only having 30,000 people. 10 years before it had 300,000. Do you see how fast the population's dropping here? In 1837, how many people were in the whole state of Wisconsin? Like 15, 20,000 people? How many people lived in Madison? That little city. That's the whole state of Wisconsin. So how many people lived in Madison at that time? 1 or 2,000 people? Well, here it is. Madison, Wisconsin. 1850. 13 years after the date we're talking about, where we know the population spiked dramatically. 1850, only 1,525 people. So how many people were in Madison, Wisconsin in 1837? Do you still believe what you've been told? Milwaukee, Wisconsin had 1,712 people in 1840. 1837, 3 years before. Madison, Wisconsin, half of them being children. How many people were here? Who was trained to build these Capitol buildings? And why is our population worldwide basically zero? Just 184 years ago. Who was constructing the palaces? Who was training everybody? No power tools, no shipping companies, no people. What are we seeing today? Why would a population of nobody, and half of them being children, why would they need to construct a second Capitol building in 1837 when nobody is here to even verify that this was actually happening? We are told these stories, and we all believed it for years until now. Verified by nobody and built by nobody. They are already on to their second Capitol building in Madison, Wisconsin, all because of the growing government of 4 people. They need to keep making new Capitol buildings, supposedly, to govern over nobody. Or did they know that this was the beginning of our new timeline, and they were preparing for all of us to be here, creating these fake stories before we all got here. And then we were all inserted into this fabricated system, located on the same exact site, we are told, of the present Capitol building. We're unable to verify if this second Capitol building was ever even here, because there was a population of basically nobody. A stone structure, we are told, all to explain this old world palace that is here before us today. Why did a population of nobody, a population with 0 training processes, freezing in the winters and struggling, why did this small community need to replace a palace stone structure over and over, riding their horse or donkey home to their sheds? When you really ask these questions and you look at the stories, you look at the stats that are given, lies begin to fall apart in an instant, especially when you know what to look for and have been shown where to look. If we were wrong, we would have been done by episode 10. We all know that the opposite is happening. We're all just getting started. We are growing to a bigger and bigger audience every single week for a reason. So the first Capitol building, 1836, the woodshed. Then 1837 to 1838. When nobody was there, and we know that, a stone structure is constructed. 1 year, and it's done. This is constructed by nobody. Are we all following so far? And then, by 1858, the stone structure that they built in a year is kicked to the curb, and a third Capitol building was constructed, we are told, telling us that it collapsed while still under construction, where that looks completed to me, and it looks like a destruction project. Look at our wooden shed right here at the bottom. This is a comparison between the old world and our world at the time. It's pathetic. Where it was, of course, you guessed it, destroyed by a fire. Can you believe how these stories all over the world are all fabricated and repeated, all generated by a computer, in my opinion? Just like we have shown. It's so easy for a computer to come up with these stories. We've shown this. Giving the technology that we have today back to us within the last 200 years, pretending like we are the most advanced group of all time. The lights are on now. The puppet show is over. The stage is now set for all of us to take our minds back. Our lives are so much more valuable than what we have all been told and shown. It's time for the world to wake up. Capitol Tours and Information tells all of us there are a few tunnels that the Wisconsin State Capitol building connects to. It connects to the Risser building across the street. There is also a tunnel that continues from that tunnel down Milwaukee Street that transports utilities and steam. Tunnels that are still in use today. There is a separate tunnel that goes down East Washington Street as well, all connected to this state capitol building, all below our feet. And then, of course, the closing statement to all of us, a building that I believe was truly meant for all of us, telling us, unfortunately, the tunnels are not available to the public. Can you believe what we just read? Can you believe what is under our feet? We have shown this in Illinois, where we actually saw the tunnel under the Illinois State Capitol building. This email is verification, in my opinion, that these structures were all constructed together by the previous civilization and were all connected underground in every single city in the world. They all have tunnels. I named all the episodes that we have shown this. I don't think they're actually blocking us off from the tunnel hallways. I think the tunnel hallways actually lead to so much more. I think it would fully expose that the structures are much bigger underground. And there is a lot more going on under our feet than we could ever imagine. The Risser building across the street. So right here, we have confirmation that this structure is connected underground to the Risser Justice Center right here. Right behind this site, we have the city-county building. How much do you all want to bet that the tunnel goes to that one as well? And right behind that, we have the state office building, Wisconsin Department of Health Services, and the Dane County Sheriff. I guarantee you it is all connected below our feet, and so much more that we are not allowed to see, all just to deliver some mail, of course. No, there is also a tunnel that connects down Milwaukee Street. And take a look at this. So right here, we have the state capitol building. And then we can see how close the University of Madison, Wisconsin is right here, which we will get into. But take a look how far these tunnels run. They are not just in one singular area. They extend far out, a massive web of underground tunnels and structures. We've shown in Chicago that there are structures below our feet. They've told us this, below many people's homes. And we saw that in New York. And then going on to say that there is a separate tunnel, meaning that there are multiple tunnel systems in this location alone, a separate tunnel. This one down East Washington Street. So here is East Washington. Let's start up at the top. Let's keep going down this road. And let's see where this connects to. Keep going. Let's keep going. Is that's the state capitol. Wait. There's a separate tunnel, we are told, that goes down East Washington Street as well. Is this guy telling us that there are multiple tunnels that all connect to this single point, the state capitol building? I think that's exactly what we're seeing here. Multiple tunnels, not just multiple tunnels in the whole city. It's multiple tunnels right under the city of Madison, Wisconsin that are all connected to the singular point of the state capitol building. If you're having fun, hit that like button and subscribe. Remember, we were told the second capitol was constructed on the same site as the present capitol in 1837, with a population of a couple squirrels and like 4 people. How long have these tunnels been there in this location? I personally believe it's much longer than 1837. I believe that all of this was found and repurposed. And then we are all given these fabricated stories. This email is absolutely incredible information to our research. Yet again, more going on under our feet. So much more than we understood before this research. The thing that I love most about this research is that it really is verifiable. You can all go to these places. They really are blocking us off from the site. They really do have tunnels in every city connecting to the buildings. A lot of tunnels all over the world, having millions of bones that they now call catacombs, where a lot of people buy a ticket and go and see it. We have also found a tunnel system that goes 17 levels underground, showing all of us that this place that we live is so much more than what we are told, not just on the ground, not only within the narratives, but also under our feet. Now, I found the blueprints to the basement of the state capitol building, where the area is rarely visited by the public. And they give us this photo with the description saying that it has ceiling paintings in the basement of Roman gods. I want to revisit this fire from the third Capitol building in 1903. They wanted a new Capitol building. The third one was not cutting it anymore. They needed another one. So they began researching a replacement, of course. So the fire story is that on the night in February 1904, a gas jet ignited a newly varnished ceiling in the third Capitol building. Although the building had an advanced firefighting system, the nearby water reservoir was of course empty, allowing the fire to spread, and the entire structure, besides the north wing, burned to the ground, with records, books, and historical artifacts stolen. Stolen? No. Lost in the fire. It was definitely lost in the fire. That was, of course, just random. A random fire, of course. I guess while they're trying to destroy it and get a new building. Remember, I explained this in our Minnesota Capitol building episode. These structures were all over this place. They held a ton of information inside of them. And we've seen that inside of the cornerstones. But we all know there's more, especially when there's underground structures and tunnels. But they did destroy a ton of them to hide the true past. This third Capitol building, it was here in my opinion. I believe that all of these buildings were. They were all here. They just weren't the state capitol building. All they're doing back then is taking the items of importance out of these buildings and moving them over to the other building. They had thousands of these palaces all over the place, which is why there were so many great fires in every single city, where thousands of buildings burned down in a time period where there weren't even any people. And then you wonder why nobody got hurt. And everyone is just fine, of course. We've seen the stats. Episode 59, where Baltimore just wanted to change a couple stats after that episode. On February 3rd, 2024, we released episode 59, The Great Fires Hold Flaws. Episode 59 is on Rumble. If you want to see it in the full, unedited version, released on February 3rd, 2024, as you can see right here. And just 4 days later, on February 7th, 2024, the Baltimore Magazine puts out an article changing the narrative of the Baltimore Great Fire, where the original narrative told us that the Great Baltimore Fire caused no deaths. And 4 days later, after our episode comes out, now 1 person in the blaze, with 4 more succumbing later to fire-related causes. Now tell me what you think about this in the comments below. Now let's get back to the episode. They tried to get a new building in 1903. 1904 just starts, February, and a random fire destroys the entire structure, and the water supply is missing and empty. And all the records, the books, and historical artifacts are all lost. The fire occurred just after the state legislature had voted to cancel the capital's fire insurance policy. And I don't believe that at all. What a weird statement to make right there at the end. That is something that a guilty party would do. They would say, I didn't do it for the insurance policy. See, I put it right there in the history. It's very odd. I promise we didn't get the insurance check for that one. We know how it works, especially when you control the system. Destroy the building with a fire. Collect the insurance check. Tell everybody you didn't get it. And we never find the individual who actually started the fire. It's just the random ghost. We see it all the time, even in Canada, in October 2024, when the Montreal mayor says the fire did seem suspicious. So maybe the mayor has been watching the show and actually wants to know what happened. I have an idea. How about we just get a camera installed in all the surviving structures that have a column present and holds any architecture that would be difficult for us to construct today and are supposedly constructed before 1920. Now, I'm not affiliated with Ring Doorbell. These things are like $100. Do you really think the church can't afford it? We would have a total of 0 old world buildings getting destroyed by random fires. If there were a fire, the Ring Doorbell would see it and we'd know who the mystery person was. This person would be exposed in 2 seconds. It's $100 on Amazon. They can all go get one today. It would take 10 seconds and it would be there in the morning. It's so easy to fix this issue, which is why it is so obvious that they don't want to fix the issue. These are deliberate attacks on the old world structures, and it's been going on for much longer than we ever realized. So like we showed, the state capitol is here. And wait, what is this next to the capitol? The Wisconsin Masonry Center. Okay. Huh. Do you think they have a tunnel too? And right next to these two structures, we have the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Surely, all connected underground. The tunnels don't just run north. We know that they are connected all over this place. Imagine how many tunnels and underground structures are underneath this area, all blocked off from the public, just like we are told. Underneath all of these thousands of students, where they're sitting there learning about the history of Wisconsin. And you know they've never heard about the massive web tunnel network right below their dorm. This is incredible. Now let me ask you, how many of these structures from the old world were handed over to the state? Government-run indoctrination, no. I mean, education institutions. I would say these buildings have been hiding right in front of our faces and have been doing so for so long. The state of Wisconsin, having a population of 30,000 people in 1840. The whole state of Wisconsin, only having a population of 30,000 people. Do you understand how small this is? This is in 1840, and the whole state decides that it needs the University of Madison, Wisconsin. In 1848, the same year that Wisconsin became a state. Knowing that Wisconsin became a state in 1848, and then building multiple state capitals before Wisconsin is even a state yet. I think that's pretty odd in my opinion. Just throwing together state capitals, universities and the rest, with a population of nobody, and they don't even have a state yet. It's almost like they knew that we were all on the way. I think they did. I think they knew that we were all coming and we were all just gonna believe whatever they said. And they were setting it up, resetting it up, the reset for all of us. The Wisconsin State Capitol building underwent a destruction project that lasted 14 years. The project to supposedly restore it again takes 14 years. When they tell us the project to construct the entire building and all of the tunnels and the rest only took 11 years. So it takes 3 years longer to restore the building that's already there than it does to construct the entire thing and its tunnel network. It's absolute nonsense. This building was there and has been there for much longer than we are told. And we all know this. In the 1970s, they had sealed up the stairs in the building. From 1988 to 2002, they found these stairs and are now uncovered. And this is what we are told about. What else have they found? What did these stairs lead to that were sealed up? Then they say they lowered the basement 2 feet. Clearly, they are very interested in this underground floor, or floors, just like we are here. And I don't blame them. I wish I could see them. The fact that they are blocked off from the public is very telling. This is a building that is supposedly meant to represent all of its people. Each state capitol building in the United States presents the basic, fundamental attentiveness of the state government to the people it serves. The people it serves. The buildings are there to serve the people. The elected officials are elected by the people. They are installed by the people. These buildings are there to serve the people. Yet the building that is meant to serve the people holds tunnels, and they are not available to the people. Do you find that odd? Do you find it odd that the building is really the people's building, yet the people are restricted from seeing what's inside? Now, for the people that live in this area, if I leave this part out of the story, I'm sure we'd see it in the comments. So I will inform you all that there is a man, Robert Grunenwald, better known as Tunnel Bob, a resident of Madison, Wisconsin, a man that has been exploring these tunnels since the 1970s. And apparently he lived in the tunnels under the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Patrick Rothfuss, an author, wrote a book about Tunnel Bob called The King Killer Chronicle that won a bunch of awards and was a New York Times bestseller. Now, the interesting part is that Patrick's father apparently had access to these tunnels and gave Tunnel Bob permission to work in the tunnels. And I don't know Patrick. He's probably a great guy. Again, I don't know him. But just looking here at what's been written, in 2001, he wanted to reach his charity goal of $333,333. And then later that month, he added a stretched goal of $666,666. I'm just gonna guess, but I'm sure he'd agree with me that these are interesting numbers. Remember, Patrick's dad knew something. His father gave Tunnel Bob permission to work in the tunnels. Patrick's dad worked in the U.S. Army in the 1960s, returning then to Wisconsin and working at the Murder Hospital. And in 1988, he was named the Director of Facilities Management. So I'm guessing he hired Tunnel Bob through that hospital, which means that the hospital is also connected and holds tunnels. In his books, this character is based on Tunnel Bob, depicting a character who lives underground, a labyrinth of old tunnels and hidden rooms beneath the university. Is this a fictional book, or are there old tunnels underneath the university? What do you think? Drawing on stories and elements from the real-life Tunnel Bob, what is really below our feet right now? What did his dad tell him? Is this story based on fact? All under the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Treasures, a room filled with pipes, serving as a pathway between different areas. Is this taking place all over the world, in every single city? At this point, I do believe so. I believe we are just getting started. And I believe understanding that there are massive tunnel networks from the old world right below our feet. I believe that this is going to unlock it all and show that it isn't possible for all of the incredible palaces to be connected underground, miles apart from each other, and then blocking it all off from all of us. Something massive is off. We are not shown the truth over and over. We are given what they want us to hear, and then the rest is hidden. including facts like who constructed the first 4 Capitol buildings, which construction company was building stone structures in a year, from 1837 to 1838, when nobody even lived in Wisconsin. This was not the Capitol in 1837. This was another structure that they found and deleted from the world that we all live before we all got here. John S. Fuller took this photo. And what else was he taking pictures of? I think John S. Fuller was a little confused as to what these structures were doing here and wanted to show everybody. This is a photo from the University of Wisconsin-Madison campus showing the first 3 buildings on the campus. We can clearly see the construction that we were doing at the time. Little wooden sheds right here at the bottom. And then you have the old world's work up here on the hill. And we all know that the tunnels are underneath all that dirt already. And we have the South Hall on the left. We have the University Hall right here in the middle. And then the North Hall on the right. I wish Mr. Fuller would have taken that camera and pointed it to the right a little bit so we could have seen what's over there. I bet you it was a bunch of buildings that were incredible. You can see the old world technology on the top of these buildings. And this is what I was taught about: horses and wagons, dirt roads, and this wild, wild west looking row of hardware stores and sheds. And look at these houses. This is the construction of the time. Not palaces. The dirt roads, the wooden fences, these people were freezing in the winters. Then they have these palaces right next to them. I think this John S. Fuller was so excited the camera was invented too early, so he took these pictures to show everybody what he found. And then he probably realized that he was 100 years too early, and nobody was even going to listen to him. Imagine these people walking on the left. They had to be so confused. Or maybe they were just as blind as we were a few years ago. What an incredible photo. It's all falling apart for the mainstream narrative, exposing so many narratives in every single continent. We now have thousands of people uniting together, keeping an eye on these old world structures all over the world. At this point, it's undeniable that there was a previous civilization right here where we are today. A civilization that was extremely advanced, holding incredible technology worldwide, being able to construct palaces in every single continent. Where I believe this group was here only a few hundred years ago. And today, we are going to expose this even further when we go to the incredible location of Marvdasht, Iran, locating the gate of all nations in Persepolis. And I promise, you didn't see this in Social Studies 101, 102, or any other number they try to come up with. All by design. Let's expose this to the world. As of May 17th, 2024, this place is still here. And we are all able to go and see this site today with incredible photos of this place. We are told that the first scientific explorations of this location were conducted by this man, Ernst Hernsfeld, in 1931. This same exact time period, every single time. It's the 18 and early 1900s where they find these places over and over. Why weren't they performing any scientific explorations in the 1700s? Why weren't they doing it in the 1600s? Why is this? Well, we all know why that is. We all know here the population of our current civilization was basically zero. We were all reset, and we have proved this in my opinion. Nobody was here in the 1700s, all over the world. So in the early 1900s, we start finding this stuff from the previous civilization. I believe that the people that found it all, they were all controlled. And this is why we see so many artifacts being removed from the site. And this is why the narrative surrounding the locations are ridiculous. And then on top of it, we can look at the site and put patterns together that we've seen before. Just like we see here, where we have an incredible griffin depicted right here on the wall. Look at the detail. It's absolutely insane to believe that we went from this and then we advanced so much that we had to go back to horses and wagons, wooden sheds, no lights, and the rest, without any sort of reset. And at the same exact time, we have to believe that we are evolving and advancing. We have to believe that we're the most advanced group of humans to ever live here. This thought process is total nonsense at this point. Take a look at the size of these blocks of stone. And then we have more detailed stonework over here. This is all the same site. And does anybody see a single mistake? I don't see one. With more heads, again, removed here. We've shown this so many times now. Heads that would change our history forever. They would show that some humans had elongated heads, elongated skulls. I believe that this is exactly what's being hidden. An incredible location. I don't see any of our towns today just throwing one of these together. And it's not even close. Finding coins at the site that clearly depict more griffins. This is an animal that connects the whole world to Tartaria. An animal that I believe at this point was 100% here and a part of this world. Just insane detail over and over at this site. It's just perfect. If you were an advanced civilization, you would construct your palaces in stone and granite. You would know that this material will survive the weathering process. And future civilizations, like us, will end up seeing it. Unless, of course, that civilization, us, go in there and destroy it. And we've seen that so many times. And it's still happening today. But this is when we look into the narrative. And the narrative tells all of us that the earliest remains date back to 515 BC. On the money. 515 BC, like 2,500 years ago. On the dot. Not 516 and not 514. Not 541, not 512. This is crazy. 515. It's unbelievable. And of course, it's all protected by our friends. Right here. Since 1979. Nobody else was protecting it before that, and it was perfectly fine. And if you were on the fence about all of this, if you thought that these narratives were totally true, and if you thought that Ernst Herzfeld figured it all out, and he cracked the code in 1931, I'm just gonna ruin adult story time for you. Finally excavated the site in the early 1930s, and then knowing that the complex was taken by the army of Alexander the Great in 330 BC. This is exactly 2,354 years ago. Not 2,353 years ago, but exactly 2,354 years ago. They just found this place, and now they're pinning down a date from thousands of years ago. He takes the complex, and soon after this, it was completely destroyed by a fire. Likely deliberately. And I'm gonna ask you one more time. Are you still on the fence? Do you believe that these stories still happened? Do you think that they really pinned down that date? You don't think these narratives are auto-generated? 100%. This is a worldwide operation. It's not just in Texas, like we have seen. It's not just in Peru. These fires and these coded messages within the narrative that we're all told, it is everywhere. And it's in every single state, every country, and every single continent. We have shown this. This narrative is total nonsense. It's not what really happened here. There's very clear evidence that there has been an extremely advanced civilization right here where we all live. And it's so obvious at this point. We know that there was a previous civilization here that constructed in stone to show off how technologically advanced they really were. Worldwide, this site includes a 1,350,000 square foot terrace, which is partly artificially constructed and partly cut out of a mountain. Are you joking? So they were also in the carving palaces into mountains business. Donkeys Incorporated. They just leveled up in Iran. And then we all decide we don't want to be that advanced anymore, and we all just want to live in a hut. No, that didn't happen. We didn't decide to go ride around on dirt roads. We didn't decide to go back to the hand wiping community. This is all deliberately planned. This is a reset. The plane, the train, the TV, the cell phone, AI, and the robots. Everything that you're gonna see has all been here before. And we can all see this very clearly now. We're not the most advanced civilization ever. We are 2,000 years ahead of these people, and we are still building houses with vinyl siding. Not one palace in my town has gone up in the last 20 years. Have you ever seen this in your town? We are not the most advanced civilization ever. Now, let's drop the guy down. I want to show you something. We have very nice symbolism. Over here, we have one entrance. I believe that these are entrances, and I'll show you. So we have one over here, and then there's another one over here. I believe this is a much larger structure that has been completely melted. It totally looks like it could have been a pyramid type shape. Just take a look at it for yourself. You can think whatever you want, but nobody can deny it does have entrances, and it does have the sides. And then there's an old world palace city right here in front of it. So let's take this up a notch and go underground, where recent geological studies at the historical site indicate that the old world used knowledge of geology. The experts, the old world, were well aware of the science of geology and were keen to discover underground sources of water. Right underneath all of this on the ground, they have a tunnel system. The studies show that the old world experts had acquired specialized knowledge and technology. This is exactly like we've stated hundreds of times. Us suggesting that the old world had extremely powerful technology is being proven through their construction that has lasted centuries. We all know this already, and we understand this fully, that the old world was worldwide. A previous advanced civilization was here. Going on to say, it is unclear how the old world civilization mastered these skills. Well, the thing is when you think that you come from a monkey in the ocean, when you think that we are evolving from nothing, and we're all at the ultimate peak of humanity, you would say it is unclear how they mastered these skills. We all understand here that there was a massive population here before all of us. They had incredible tools, incredible training processes, things that this history is not telling us. And I believe that we've also shown that they had assistance from angels. Not only is this documented in text, it's also engraved into the stone in every continent. And like I've said, I trust what is depicted in the stone rather than what some guy says in 1931. What do you think? And unfortunately, the incredible construction techniques used were all forgotten. Where I'd go back to the moon in a nanosecond, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to get it back.
Build it back again.
Thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac app. I'll put the link right in the description. And you can use my referral code, MLB. If you click the Tartaria button, you'll see the My Lunch Break playlist right here. The app is awesome. Thank you to Rebecca K, Chuck Templeton, Joy Lee, Stephanie Nolan, the Burlesons, Charles Kruger, Dan Woodle, DJ ClickTrack, Jacob Law, Jim Ribley and Christine Duggan, BKTFnews.org, Ben Dries NL, Natalie Shippenoff, Melissa Edgar, Biggles, Full Task Homestead, John Adams, Attila Power, Forbidden Gecko Love, Leah Strong, Dakota Dunn, Jason Hochberg, Marie C, Michael Dingu, Patriot Armory, C3SCOB, SoniaDane.com, James Alt, Miggs, Mark Chapman, Ariana Oates, Nathan Burba, Ski, Liberty's Arborist, Thomas Thorpe Peterson, Zinger Coffee and Tea, Curious Cat, Mike D, etc., Dan McGee, Lori Hedvig John, Seth Craigo, Glenn Gunderson, Mousie's Mouse Cheese Records, Robert's Brain is Gone, Extreme Reality Check, Late for Dinner, Eolo Goncalves, Blake, Dax Bill Check and Son, Robert Petro, Cats Hill, Susie Q, Yark 143, Doc Halo, Brenna Fernandez, Paraduction, Necrodemonics, A&W Kerrigan, Rod Wah, Queedest of Peas, Road Warrior, Bruce Latour, Devin Apocaly, Ardra Rogers, Brazawayan, Armin Walker, Ivan Apocaly, Laurel L. Burnett, John and Carlo, Bill, Vince Moreno, Flat Earth Herb, Sven Eric, Dux MDF TFV, Digital Strategy, Earth Daughter, Eha Muir, Harvey, Bradford's Donkey Wagon Deluxe, Ernieho, Just Like That, Backyard Rob, DevlinMcGregor.com, D Woods, Sherry Frost, Lynn Thielen, F.E. Patriot, Trevor Cashin, Justin Grabner Grubb, Helena Funk, Just Incredible, Jeremy and Amy, Kent Baki, Peter Battani, First Class Forklift, Brendy's Brenna, Sally, Alpha Auto, Tahoe Highlands, Consulting LLC, Ty, Rebecca Klung, Tim Skin, ValleyMedicinals.com, David Torres, Charmstar, Breaking Bigfoot, Corbin Mechanical, The Lady Lacey Show, Once Upon a Time in Tartaria, Beacon of Truth, Cashman 451, Mandy, Lucy, Tibba Shaba in the Darkness. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. I'm gonna show you just how massive this previous civilization was. I'm gonna show you that this was happening all over the place. 7.5 miles northwest of this location, we have another site that has entrances to a massive melted structure. This is an absolutely incredible location that my history teacher showed me a total of -5 times. He mentioned this place every time I was over in math class. And whenever I went to my locker, this place was mentioned all the time when I was never there. Oh, wait, no. He never mentioned this place. You know, I'll be honest with you all. I would have been so much happier just skipping over the fake Columbus story and just learning all about these incredible sites, if they were gonna brainwash me with lies anyway. At least show me some cool structures. They aren't gonna do that though, and we all know why. They don't want us seeing this. And you might say, why not? Why wouldn't they want you to see this? We would all start asking so many questions. Like, why are there two insane stone carved sites, like 7.5 miles apart from each other, built over 2,000 years ago? And then why does one of the sites have tunnels underneath it? Wait, why did humans have technology for underground water systems, knowing all about geology, and then they lost the technology and went backwards? But then you're telling me in my other classroom that I'm evolving and I'm advancing. This is not the kind of thought process that they want, especially when we find out that it wasn't just one site. It was all over the world, including this location. All of this is just for decoration. Are you sure? First of all, before we go on, I need you to take a look at these people down here. And then I need you to ask yourself, how in the heck are they gonna get up to the top and cut into this solid rock? This is a civilization, we are told, that supposedly had nothing. They are so much worse off than we are today. Supposedly no power tools, riding around on their donkey for thousands of years. They couldn't come up with one invention until we all got here. They just needed our help so much. Yet, they just go all over the place making palaces. These palaces are places that blow our minds today, all for decoration. Look at the size of these people, and I 100% believe that this was once a massive structure. These are doors to the palace. This has since been melted. We've seen it all over the world now. The exterior is completely melted. This site is known for its rock-cut tombs. These monumental tombs are carved into the cliff face, creating chambered spaces within the rock with small tunnels and channels present here as part of the drainage system. All for decoration, we were told. This is complete nonsense. This was a palace, and it held a drainage system. Because I guarantee you, if you started cutting away this front layer, you would be able to enter it still. Probably constructed. Probably. In the first half of the 6th century BC. Not the second half, but the first half, where Carl the Snail just pins this date down by reading the stars. The first half of the 6th century BC. This is nonsense. And what are they doing to it? This place has been completely fine since the first half of the 6th century BC. And now out of nowhere, it needs our help. It needs our incredible scaffolding. No, it does not. I want to know in the comments, do you think that they're really helping this place? There are so many locations that don't belong in our timeline. They expose that what we are being told is ridiculous. These are all palaces that we can go and see for ourselves. Unless, of course, there's a war going on or they blow it all up, which we've seen in Syria, as well as other places. This is located in Merv, Turkmenistan. We just saw this logo in the center right here. And now we're also seeing it over here. This site gives us another narrative where it says, "Then they set fire to the city and burned the tomb." We all know, if you've done this research for a while, that Turkmenistan is a very odd place. There's so many old world structures here. But with this one, we can clearly see melting yet again. An event took place that completely wiped out this previous civilization. This event melted its structures. The stone looks like it's dripping. It is so weird. And then take a look at this angle. Imagine what this place looked like before being melted like this. These are all the stone and granite structures that are still here today. Do you think that they possibly constructed palaces using other materials that aren't as tough as stone and granite? I'm just gonna guess and say yes. I believe that these stone palaces were constructed to show the next civilization what the previous civilization was capable of. The structures that used the other materials are obviously gone now. Exactly how our box-style buildings would be gone in the wind. This is such a weird sight. You can see the melting so clearly. And check this one out. Look at the bricks at the bottom and how it once looked. And then look at the rest of it. Could you even imagine what is underneath all this dirt right here? I would bet that this mud-flooded layer of dirt is covering up so much more. Finding mosques in the late 1800s, our timeline again. We must have just been riding around on those donkeys' backs saying, what the did we miss? Why are there stone and granite palaces all over the place? And then I go to my little classroom that's built with wood, and then my teacher telling me and my friends that we are living in the most advanced time ever. The most technology, writing with their local duck's feather, walking down their dirt road with potholes everywhere. They were having no fun, and the most fun they'd have is to go outside and make a candle, looking across the dirt road at an old world palace. But teacher, what about all the palaces in my little town? Wait, what did you just say? The palaces in my... You better get your butt over to the asylum. This is what you call being a finder or a founder. 100%. This is what happened in every continent in the 1800s. And then they gave us these fabricated narratives, telling all of us all about the pottery that they found. The pottery is an incredible tactic to distract us from the truth, saying it was yellow and green pottery, with turquoise and black pottery bowls in the other palace, with Mongol-style pottery as well. The pottery is a distraction, 100%. It gives all of us the satisfaction that they found something at the site. And once we see that they found something, we stop digging. We accept that they were primitive and only knew how to make pottery, when in reality, they probably just made this pottery after finding the site, and then telling all of us that that's what they found. When we've seen that they destroy items. They block sites off from the public and remove what they really found. In some cases, finding 7,000 elongated skulls and hiding the true past, confusing everybody with nonsense, so that we all stop asking questions. Not anymore. Our friends are everywhere. They love our research. This is the location on Google Earth, and they only allow you to put the guy down on this one spot, which shows you the inside of this structure. This one is just so odd. It's so crazy. Here's another photo of it from the other side. These are all structures and sites that solidify what we are saying here. It's so clear that something happened that we are not being told about. Something happened that we have melted structures and sites, including this one, the Fortress of Infidels, destroying a worldwide population and setting it back to basically zero, giving us these stats and letting us see them, as well as the photos from the 1800s. It does feel like a game. We are exposing it all, week by week, showing sites that have been hidden for far too long, structures that do not belong in this fake timeline, that we are all force-fed since day one, a timeline that is flawed. We are not given the truth about our history. The world is understanding this now. We can see for ourselves that sites like this have a much deeper meaning. Something definitely happened here. A powerful group of people being able to construct palaces in every single continent. Merv, a location that since the 1890s has only been excavated by the Russians, the Americans, and the Soviets, and then just making up whatever history they'd like about the site for all of us to believe, telling all of us all about who was occupying the site in the 6th century BC, 2,600 years ago. Finding all of this out by dusting the stone off with a brush in the last 150 years. And then testing the local bush. The alarm clock has been ringing. It is time for all of us to wake up. An incredible location, a site that was just discovered in 1972. A previous civilization was here, and it just might have been civilizations. Today we have found the Lost City, an ancient city that was found in Colombia, where they just found this place in 1972. And then, based on a wild guess, by asking the local rabbit, they figured out that this was believed to have been a city from 1,224 years ago, in the year 800, supposedly predating Machu Picchu by 650 years. Not 700 years, not 600 years, but pinning that down to exactly 650 years. All thanks to Bugs Bunny and his friends. This place is incredible. The entrance can be accessed only by climbing up 1,200 stone steps through a jungle in Colombia. Could you even imagine the people of the 800s, the stories that we are told about them, where they had no power tools, no cars, just barebacking the heck out of that donkey, all the way up the steps in the jungle, just riding the crap out of that donkey for miles, bringing the stone all the way to the site and just suffering. It's complete nonsense. They clearly had technology back then that we are not being told about. The site consists of 169 terraces carved into the mountainside, a network of tiled roads, and several small circular plazas. Now I'm going to show you how they steal the items from the site. Check this out. In 1972, they found this site. They tell us that this group was a small family of looters in Colombia. This is the group that supposedly found it. And maybe they did. But when they tell us that they found it by stumbling upon the stone steps while hunting a wild turkey. We have all seen the story where they found caves in India while out there hunting tigers. Reoccurring stories yet again. where they're just off hunting animals and accidentally bump into some sort of old world palace. So they climb all the way up the stones and discover an abandoned city. This is in 1972, remember. And out of nowhere, there's now a murder and a fight breaks out among this group. So then the gold figures and ceramic urns from the old world site begin to appear on the black market. Of course they do. Who killed the sun? Was this done by the hidden group? You tell me. And then alerting the archaeologists because their ridiculous mainstream narrative just might get exposed. What did this group find at the site in Colombia in 1972? Needing to alert the archaeologists and a team led by the director of this group. And they got to this site before that year, 100%. But we are all given the year 1976. I don't believe that it took 4 years. There's no way. And for the biggest giveaway of all time, and to blow everybody's mind at how this operation works worldwide. And our true history is 100% hidden from all of us. If you were unsure before, this should wake you up quick. The site was reconstructed for 6 years. They destroyed and are hiding our true history from all of us between 1976 and 1982. Can you believe what we just read? How can anything be trusted from this point forward about this site? How can we know this? Look at the narrative and trust what they're telling us about it. It could not be any clearer that they have stolen the old world items. They destroyed anything that would have shown the world that they are liars and pretended like they just knew all about the 800s. Complete robbery. Total manipulation on a grand scale. Whatever is left from the site today is crumbs. It is nothing compared to what was actually found in 1972. Now the thing about the jungle is that they couldn't just go in there in the 1700s, before we all got here, and chop the heads off of all the statues, like they did in all the other continents. So when they found this place in the 1970s, they had to rush in there, most likely kill one of the people that found it, because these people, they didn't want to give it up. They had just found something incredible. And then they just sent the superhero archaeologists in there. It is a clear operation. This is how it works, or at least did, where they left behind this rock for us to see. Pretending like the old world just grabbed some rocks and scratched a bunch of marks on the rock. When let's all be honest, they probably just did this to the rock during the renovation project. This rock is not from the old world. This rock is from the 1970s. Then they go on to tell us that indigenous peoples had established advanced communities 1,500 years before the Spanish had arrived, meaning 1,500 years before 1492 is the year -8 in advanced community. And then we all went back to dirt roads in the 1800s, sleeping in huts. But at the exact same time, we are told that they were the most advanced group ever. And we are all evolving and advancing. How many of you think that we are evolving and advancing now? If I had to take a guess, it's not as many as before. Telling us that they had gardens in the year 8, growing tomatoes and corn. Can you believe that they made this stuff up for so many years? And we were all just like, oh yeah, the corn. Wow. Yes, the avocados. This is crazy. Come on, archaeologists, tell us more. We want to know more about the year 8. I just want to hear so much more about the corn that they grew. Tell me all about the tomatoes and the pineapples of the past. Tell me all about the year 8. How the children from 2,000 years ago would be told stories from elders and learn to create fabrics to make clothes. Can you believe this is what we are told? Can you believe that there are so many people out there still that believe this nonsense? I really hope that nobody is looking at this saying, Yeah, you guys, they really did tell stories about making clothes 2,000 years ago. The archaeologists know all about this. They learned all about this by brushing away the dirt with their paintbrush. And I know this because the scholars told me so. They went to school for this, and they would never lie to me. They wouldn't totally distract me from the truth by telling me all about the corn and tomatoes from the year 8. They wouldn't do this to me. It is incredible what we have all been reading for years and fully trusted. And for so many, they still do. Around 1970, farmers learned of the possibilities of finding old world great treasures. So these farmers organized themselves without the archaeologists, which the mainstream did not like at all. So they changed these farmers' names from farmers to looters. These people, the farmers, are doing the same exact activity that the archaeologists do repeatedly. This activity of finding the old world items without an archaeologist present, or in other words, the mainstream narrative being present. This is an illegal activity. Can you believe this? Our entire history is 100% controlled worldwide, and this just proves it. Every single site in the world has gone through the controlling group that writes the stories the way that they want to. They add what they want to the story and remove items and anything that doesn't fit in with the mainstream narrative, and they keep it for themselves. And yet again, another story where the farmers, that are now called looters, went deeper into the Sierra until 1973, when they found the lost city and found all of the old world items. So another group, which I'm guessing was the mainstream narrative, sending their group in. And of course, both leaders were killed in a bloody combat. They did not want these people reporting on what they found. This is incredible. Now there's something called Lidar, which really started working in the 1980s. Lidar stands for light detection and ranging. It uses laser pulses to measure distances by sending light to a target and measuring how long it takes for the light to bounce back. This creates a highly detailed 3D map of landscapes, structures, or objects. Thousands of these measurements are taken per second, and this works in jungles. So today they can go and find these sites so much easier. They have found all of them at this point. There's no doubt about that. I can guarantee that there's no more farmers just going off into the jungle and just finding random old world palaces in 2024. This group can now just fly one of these drones over the jungle and map the whole thing out. And we can all see this right on the World Monuments Fund's website, where they tell us that archaeologists completed LiDAR mapping of this location in 2019, where they found more than 200 structures, including dwellings, terraces, stone paths, plazas, ceremonial sites, storehouses, and canals. And guess what? We all know there's more that we are not being told about or shown. In 2023, they let us know that the WMF took this site on as part of its project portfolio and will, of course, continue to work at this site, meaning that they have found more. Now, I do find it extremely odd that they would leave any of these places. It's one of three things, in my opinion, at this point. It's like they either don't care if we figure it out, they want us to try to figure it out like it's some sort of game, or they have to allow us to be able to figure it out if we want to. Otherwise, we all know that they would have just blown this place up and just said that there's a war among the farmers and called them looters. And one of the looters just decided to bomb the place because if he couldn't have it, then nobody could. And we would all believe it for years because they told us. And they wouldn't lie about that. But the fact that it's still there in some capacity is very interesting. Now, just looking at these photos and knowing what we know, I would guess that there is so much more underneath this. I would guess that this is a roof and there are tunnel networks underneath it. And this is what they could be looking into starting in 2023. where they continued to work at the site, especially when we are told that the lost city in Colombia does have underground tunnels. There are reports and evidence of tunnels. These tunnels are believed to have been part of a system that connect different areas of the city and possibly linked this lost city to other settlements in the region. Possibly. Maybe. When we all know that it does. They are still being explored and studied today, showing that we were correct yet again. And we know exactly why the WMF is back at the site in 2023. They have found so much more. Much of the site remains hidden in the jungle and continues to be uncovered by the mainstream narrative. No. I mean archaeologists. The complexity of this site, its architecture with its terraces, circular plazas, and elevated paths, suggests that the builders, the old world, as we all know here, were highly skilled builders who may have used the tunnels as part of their infrastructure. Could you even imagine what is going on in these tunnels? What do they really lead to? I have to be honest. I start these episodes off by just being amazed by the sight that I'm seeing. And then after getting into the episode a little, I start wondering, does this site have tunnels? And time again, in every single country, all over the world, it has a network of tunnels, structures, under our feet, which makes me wonder, if it's in every single city in the world, like we've seen here, do these tunnels all connect to each other from North America to South America? Is there a massive web under our feet that has been there from the old world? How many people are in these tunnels today? What is going on below our feet? It's so interesting when you really think about it. It's basically a whole other world right below the ground. We have shown how these tunnels connect below schools. We have shown that they connect to churches. They're connected to state capitals. Where do these people go? I ask these questions sometimes, hoping that you can answer them yourself. There is a massive issue below our feet. We have a lot of skulls and femurs, bones that have been boiled and cleaned up. They have been stacked into geometric patterns below churches all over the world. We have 3 episodes on this to this point. They are now called catacombs, where it is estimated that over 1 million people per year purchase a ticket to support this. And they just go looking around these catacombs. We have been fooled for so long. As a whole, an incredible operation that has honestly done a really great job accomplishing its goal, to keep the masses in a trance. So they just found this place in the 1970s, and out of nowhere, in 2003, 8 foreign tourists were kidnapped at the site. And I have to ask, how many times do you think this has happened over the years that we just didn't hear about? And 2 years later, the site was up and running again. And there have been no problems since. And they make sure we know there have not been any more kidnappings that we know of. Remember, this place has been fined for so long. We finally find it in the 70s. And in 2009, it now needs our help, of course. The Global Heritage Fund has been working to preserve and protect the historic site against the climate. So we have so many groups here today, all interested in this location for some reason. There has to be something going on there. Multiple groups just hanging out, protecting it from the sun. We are told from people that are going to this site today, you have to be very careful here because most accidents happen on the wet, uneven steps. The stairs lead steeply up the mountain like a green tunnel. You can read the rest, but getting to the top of this thing is insane. Uneven steps, steeply up the mountain. There were no horses and wagons climbing up this mountain. And it's apparently only bearable to get there in the morning hours. The previous civilization was incredible. The amount of sites that we have shown to this point is unbelievable. I think back to places like Mount Nemrut, where they were up in the sky basically, constructing stone faces, or caves in the middle of the jungle in India. Palmyra, Syria, having massive columns all over the place. What an incredible place that we all live. So many structures from the old world that have now been shown to the world again. I really enjoy sharing this information with all of you. It is really cool to see this community grow to a bigger and bigger audience every single week. Being able to reach brand new minds every day because of all of you. Now, there are so many places in the world that just don't belong in our timeline. Just like we have shown over and over, with ridiculous narratives that are clearly made up, where they just find the place and then know all about what happened at campfire story time in the year 8, including this site, staying in South America. We have the site of Pucara de Tilcara, where it's becoming so clear that based on the rediscovery dates, that our timeline just started a few hundred years ago, just like we have stated from episode 10 onwards, where they rediscovered this location in 1908. To clear this up, that means that they just found it. Finding it in 1908. This is not a rediscovery. This is a discovery. Finding it in 1908. And then cataloged over 3,000 artifacts during the first 3 years of digging, clearing about 22,000 square feet. Incredible. In 1966, the Archaeological Museum began. This site is unbelievable. They didn't just find artifacts, they found bodies, telling us among the most valuable is a mummified body discovered, fully clothed, in an excellent state of preservation, where it is, of course, no longer being exhibited. You cannot go there and see the body. It is no longer open to the public, blocking all of us from the truth over and over. I'd love to know how many times we have found things that are just being blocked off from all of us. How can we trust the narrative when they don't even show us everything? I'll ask you something. Would you trust me if I did this to you? Of course not. So why is this acceptable for them? I don't believe it is. So they tell us that one body was found, where we all know that there was more. And that one body is being blocked off from all of us. So what else is being hidden from us? 5,000 valuable historic pieces that were found are on display. Could you imagine what was found here? And at this point, we are so locked in, fully understanding that these narratives have coded patterns. I love exposing these patterns to all of you, finding the patterns and never looking back, making sure that the narrative gives us all the pottery. You gotta give them the pottery, okay? So they don't ask about all the other stuff in the back. The previous civilization. The previous civilization was not just over there making a bunch of pottery and then having stone palaces, webbed underground networks, connecting it all with the stars, and then saying, okay, let's go make some pottery. Johnny, go get me the clay. Babe, I don't know if I'm gonna make it for dinner. It's gonna be a busy night with my clay pottery set. Just having arts and crafts nights on Wednesdays, basket weaving on Thursdays, and warrior training on Fridays. This is absolute nonsense. Telling us all about the year -8,000. Saying that traces of human habitation date back more than 10,000 years, with this tribe just moving in around the 12th century. Finding all of this in 1908. And then pretending to know all about the -8,000s. At this point, it actually seems like they have something wrong with them. Only if they actually believe their own lies, of course. I don't know, Brian. What do you think? Well, this stone looks a lot like a stone from the -3000s. I don't know. That sounds a little too close to our timeline. Well, -5? No, I don't think so. What about 8,000? Yeah, that sounds better. Let's go with that, yeah. Well, see, Brian, do you see where it's chipped right here on the side? Right on the corner? This right here is clear evidence of a basket weaving pottery making civilization from 10,000 years ago. So don't forget that for next time. I don't know what I was thinking suggesting the negative 3,000s. This is crazy. And then we all sign up for their indoctrination classes. Oh, wait, no. I mean, history classes. And we all enjoy these stories about pottery makers of the past. And these history major individuals, they get really interested in it. So interested and invested that they want to go and visit the site. So they get on a plane, they get there, and then they're told that they can't see the body because of ethical and cultural concerns and or conservation issues and or it's now illegal. And then they say, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. What else do you got? Well, we have some pottery. Oh, I'm so interested in pottery. Sign me up for the pottery. That is what I came here to see. And then off they go. I've personally had enough of the pottery excuse. I am ready to see the skulls that are being hidden from us from episode 96. I want to see the tunnels under the state capitol buildings that were meant for us from episode 100. I want to see it all. I believe we are on that path. The more people that know about these places, these sites, the things that are blocked off from us, the harder it's going to be to keep them locked in the basement, away from all of us. We know here that these heads were chopped off all of the statues, all over the world, where I believe that they expose that the old world had elongated heads, elongated skulls, a civilization that was not here as far back as we've been told. I believe that this is the reason that they find these heads, these skulls, and they either destroy them or they simply hide them from all of us. Over and over. What if the history that we've all been told has hidden the truth about who we are, what we're doing here, and what has been here before us? Welcome to Sardinia, Italy, where we have located the Giants of Monte Prama. After 4 excavation campaigns carried out between 1975 and 1979, they found roughly 5,000 items underground, pieces that belonged to the old world, including 15 heads and 22 torsos. We know that there was more. They took these items and stored them for 30 years in the repositories of the National Archaeological Museum of Cagliari. Yet again, they can give us any number they'd like, and we cannot verify this information. They can say 15 heads, and it could have been hundreds or even thousands for all that we know, especially when they remove them from the site and store them for 30 years. What have they done to the originals after 3 decades? You tell me. Again, we have shown that if we were to go and do the work of an archaeologist, that would be illegal in every country. We can't just go find giant heads and remove them from everybody's view for 30 years. These people do that, and everybody's just fine with that. In fact, whatever they come up with is what's taught in schools. We study this, and then the kids get graded on it, and everybody's just fine with that. Until now, while only a few of the most important pieces were exhibited in the museum, the others, hidden from the public of course, along with the statues, other sculptures found at the site include large models of buildings and sacred stones, a site that was just found in the 1970s in Italy. Our timeline, our civilization. And then Bobby, the history major, is gonna tell all of us that they just abandoned this site in the late 4th century BC. 2,400 years ago. Pinning it down. Not the 5th century BC, not the 3rd. Can you believe that this is just accepted by millions of people for so long? They just make up any date they'd like. We were all like, wow, that's amazing. Thank you for figuring that out. Knowing all about the negative 3,000s because they tested that local leaf near the site. Built between the 11th and the 8th century BC. You know, between 2,700 and 3,100 years ago. But this is, of course, debated. Removing these from our timeline for so long, we know how they destroy the heads. Thousands of statues from the old world, hiding their true appearance, hiding what people actually looked like in the old world. A timeline that was here before our civilization started back up in the 17 and 1800s. Remember, in order for limestone to look like this, you would have to go down to your basement and grab your hammer and then smack it and then hit it repeatedly to chip away at it. These two statues were found at the same location. There is clearly no weathering going on. This one on the right is showing us that something odd was going on with their faces. But that one might not have been showing enough to take a hammer and smack it in the face. The one on the left has clearly been destroyed since finding it. And now I know for sure that we were correct about the hands. First off, this guy's head's destroyed. But take a look at his hands. His right hand is gone. These statues of the past, they depict what they knew about the world that they lived in. They are hiding the hands of the past from all of us. For one, because they either had 6 fingers, like we've shown, they were holding something of significance, or they were wearing something that would give it all away. And I guarantee that some of them had watches on as well as other things. Would any of us be shocked if they had an Apple Watch on? Me either. Imagine them finding these. Oh no, guys. We got 3 Apple Watches down over here. 4 over there? Oh my gosh. All right, bring these back to my office. I'm gonna need to get my hammer out for 30 years. The feet are gone too, and they probably had Nikes on. Like I've said so many times, I personally trust what is depicted in the stonework from the old world rather than what some random guy is telling me about the site. A guy that was born in the 1900s, telling me all about the negative 3000s. No thanks. And I am shocked that these are being shown to us. Depictions of the past, in my opinion, showing us that there were individuals here, where we all live, that don't look anything like we do today. Yet again, elongated heads, massive horns. It's just art, of course. Right. These small figures have helped to reassemble the giants because of their similar features. Similar features. Horns, elongated heads. It's very interesting. Again, telling us all about the pottery, saying, aside from the pottery, excavations haven't found much. Recovering very few finds. Yeah, right. Telling us that they found 5,000 depictions of the past in the 1970s, and then removing them from us for 30 years, storing them, and then destroying so many of them, in my opinion. Oh, did I forget to tell you? These statues are over 8 feet tall, giants that depict a very different history than what we've all been told. I believe we are exposing what the history and what the individuals of the past truly looked like after the destruction. Restoration project was carried out from 2007 to 2012. The 25 statues that they're telling us about, some warriors, archers, and boxers, have been exhibited to the public. But before this, the public was blocked off from these items. Once it is blocked off from the public, this is the second that the rest of the story that they want to tell me, it becomes irrelevant. You cannot take items in the back away from all of us and then come back and tell me that these are the originals. You don't get to do that. It doesn't work like that. And then tell me to trust what the same people are telling us about 3,000 years ago. That is not the way an investigation works. Removing evidence and making up your own story. And anyone questioning this ridiculous narrative that this sketchy group just pulled out of their just made up, questioning them marks you as an outsider. Well, guess what? Closing my eyes and blindly trusting this narrative that keeps secrets from all of us for 30 years in the basement. This didn't make it into my DNA. And I have a feeling I'm not the only one. Finding this site in the 1970s and finally allowing the exhibition to become accessible to the public in 2011. This is incredible. Taking nearly 40 years. This is not to preserve truth. This is prep work for mass manipulation. And this is exposed now. Again, we are correct. It is more than 25 statues. It always is. And they aren't going to give us the true number. But we know that there are more, especially when we're told that according to the most recent estimates, the total has gone up to a total of 44 statues, not 25 anymore. And I guarantee there's more in the back. So when they say the exhibition has become permanently accessible to the public, remember, there are more being stored, as we were told, in the back. We are dealing with a bunch of liars, and they are terrible at it. We are picking these stories apart every single week. They are being exposed. And I believe it's time that their supposed research in the back, their restoration projects, all of it, it needs to be transparent to the public. From the second that they find these old world items until they are set on display, there should never be a closed door to any item that was just found. According to the most recent estimates, once the restoration has been completed, it is planned to return the majority of the finds to be displayed in a museum. The majority, not all. This restoration project should be a live stream. We should all be able to see what's going on right now. This is a plan, by the way, to return the majority of them to the people. It's the plan, but nothing's set in stone, as they say. A man named Giovanni Liliu was indeed involved in politics. He served as the regional councillor in Sardinia during the exact same years that they found this site, from 1969 to 1974. So who is telling all of us all these dates of 3750 to 3300 BC? Who's telling us this stuff anyway? It wouldn't be the political figure, right? No, it couldn't be. We're the first sculpture in Sardinia, these ones right here, are much more ancient than the statues that we've been discussing today. Wow, even older ones? That's so cool. This is amazing. There's even older ones that date back 5,774 years. Wait. Who is telling us this? Giovanni Liliu? Wait, what? A political figure? The regional councillor in Sardinia is telling all of us about the year negative 5,774. This has got to be the end of your trust in the mainstream narrative. Knowing that a political figure in Italy was busy getting his hands on the narrative, does that not just stick the dagger in it? Oh, and the other guy, this guy thinks it's from 8,000 years ago. I don't know. What do you all think? You think these are from 5,000 years or 8,000? I was thinking more like 50,000. You gotta look at the side right there. It really does give it all away. By the way, they never find these things in the 1500s. They never find them in the 1400s. They find it in the 18 and 1900s every single time. Our timeline, the finder is finding this in 1949. Finding these following an excavation inside of a cave, where this gets interesting. It was not found in the pile of other artifacts. It was found imprisoned in a mass of bone breccia. This is a deposit of fragments of bones, of vertebrae, all found inside this cave. We all know that they found so much more, especially when they found pottery. The pottery, it's given to us so that we stop looking and think all they were doing was making a bunch of pottery. And then we don't ask who these individuals were, or what they looked like, or what they were holding, or whatever else was found at the site. You gotta give them the pottery so they have something to be excited about. And all the good stuff we take. Now remember, the giant statues we started off with. It's in the middle of the water. Not only that, but check this out. Take a look at where it's located. The discovery of the giant statues was actually made by accident in 1974. A farmer was plowing his field when he came across large stone fragments. Digging deeper, they found more. And of course, they blocked the farmer off from the site, as they typically do restrict the public access to their excavation sites, blocking us off to preserve what they find, control the narrative, destroy what needs to be destroyed, and of course, many countries have strict laws about who is allowed to work on old world sites, ensuring the proper people get to see what is being discovered. And then we all have to trust what they say at the end. Does this sound good to all of you? It sounds pretty messed up if you ask me. This does not sound like a very trustworthy system that's in place. This seems like they don't want us to see things if you ask me. It seems like a nervous bunch. Let's be honest. They're hiding everything. They're blocking us off immediately from sites. They destroy everything, and they chop the heads off of most of the statues from the past. They are restricting access, but they leave just enough for us to figure it out if we can. I'm at the point where this is a game, and they want to see who can figure it out. And I'm just going to come out and say it. Did they find the real C-3PO in 1975 to 1979? And then take that knowledge and go make Star Wars. Because we just saw what years they found this. It's 1975 to 1979. Introducing C-3PO to all of us right in the middle in 1977. Are we right or are we right? And who is this George Lucas anyway? I'm gonna get sidetracked here for a second. This is too weird. George Lucas, he created Star Wars. George Lucas just so happened to film Star Wars in Italy. I'm gonna stop there. I think we all get the point. We know they found more. They always do. And if they didn't, we wouldn't be blocked off immediately every single time. They wouldn't hide things in the basement for 30 years. And check this out. Tartaria, I believe this belongs to you. And this might belong to you as well, or maybe St. Louis, episode 45. All over the world, time and time again, the statues from the old world, the heads of these statues are removed. And we know that when they don't remove the head, it exposes so much about the past. Once we pointed this out about the heads being removed, it is now impossible to unsee it. Every time I look at one of these statues, it gets clearer and clearer that something is being hidden. Finding these in Paris, we find these all over the world. There's no coincidences at this point. I believe this world was covered with so many different creatures, beings, and they were massive. The civilization before was huge. It was powerful. They were extremely intelligent. And they were not limited to just pottery nights on Wednesdays. This world where we all live today is so much different than what we are being told. And we are just starting to uncover this. We are seeing patterns, exposing sites, exposing the old world, the truth about what these individuals possibly looked like, what this world looked like before we all got here, and what we are being hidden from today. Are we the most advanced civilization to ever be here? You tell me. During the early stages of discovery, most of the sculptures at the Center for Restoration and Conservation are missing their heads. And the cause lies in the fact that the site was unattended, with the group looting and focusing on the best parts of the sculptures from the old world. Can we all see very clearly now that the heads of the past, the depictions of the old world, give away way too much information to all of us, failing to fence off the site, and of course, finding human skeletons at the site, placed in a sitting and crouching position, belonging to female and male individuals between 13 and 15 years of age. A necropolis. Are you ready to go further? Where we have seen episode 97 and episode 98, Palmyra, Syria, and the Temple of Baal, where we know that Sardinia appears to be connected to Syria, Sardinia. We are not done with you. The Great Tomb of Osiris, Egypt, a location that in 2022 just found a tunnel beneath the temple at a depth of 20 meters or 65 feet underground. The tunnel is 2 meters high or 6.5 feet and 1,305 meters long, 4,281 feet. Supposedly constructing this to transport water to the old world, where another article tells us that a secret tunnel was discovered, a geometric miracle, telling us that the purpose of the tunnel is still unclear. Take a look at this tunnel. This is all for water transportation? You tell me. The previous civilization that was extremely advanced and had technology that would blow our minds today, a civilization that we are not being told about within our textbooks, a group telling all of us that we are all the most advanced civilization to ever be here. Is that the truth? I don't believe so. It is an exact replica of the Tunnel of Unopened in Greece. That one also transported water. How is this possible for replica tunnels to be constructed all over the world, 484 miles apart from each other? We're gonna get into the twin tunnels in Greece in a minute. An exact replica of the tunnels found in 2022 in Egypt. They tell us that they found it in 2022. But remember, they have had Lidar, and I'm sure things much more powerful than that, for a very long time. They've finally exposed these tunnels to the public in 2022 is exactly what I'm reading, especially when we are told that various archaeologists have been working on the site since 1998. So they've been there a while, telling all of us that in 2022, somebody finally decided to say, hey guys, you know what? I know we're at an incredible site. After decades of having this technology, how about we finally get the Lidar out and see if there's anything under our feet? No, this did not happen. They did not wait until 2022. And we all know this. Using a combination of ground-penetrating radar and traditional archaeological excavation techniques. If this is seriously the case, which I don't believe it is, but if they seriously waited until 2022 to finally use the Lidar, then I think they really need our help. I could have told them about the Lidar like 20 years ago. Tunnels, yet again, in every city, every continent. The old world operated underground, so much more underground than above it. I believe what is below our feet is so much more than we could ever imagine. I believe that these tunnels that we are shown, they're just hallways to the bigger overall structures underground. Just like we have shown in Chicago, we have exposed the underground networks under our feet. The 17 levels of tunnels in episode 84. They are everywhere. So of course the tunnels are in Egypt. In 2010, archaeologists discovered a huge granite statue of a king that was, of course, headless. We have found headless statues over and over. This statue was not headless when they found it. We know this. They destroy these heads because their heads would show that our history is a complete lie. And there were people or beings that did not look like us at all. This head was removed. It was chopped off and destroyed. And this is not a random guess anymore. This is based on repeated patterns, finding the same pattern over and over in every continent. Repetition is the key, and we hold the keys now. We have unlocked the truth that they are hiding, what these individuals truly looked like. Not all of them, but without a doubt, some from the old world. What happened to the stone heads from all of these sites? They just fell off? Time and time again? Okay, fine, let's pretend that they just fall off. Then what? These stone heads, they just run away? They disappear? The stone heads of the past just fall off and then it's missing forever. No, we are not buying this narrative anymore. We have all seen it too many times. And once you see it, you don't go back to not seeing it. It only gets clearer and clearer. A clear and obvious attack on our true history. We are also told that this site, this temple, likely contained the burial of a significant royal personality, possibly Cleopatra. Again, destroying this location in the 1930s and calling it a restoration project. Our timeline, yet again, they just found this place and removed anything that would expose this false narrative. One side of this temple of Osiris, which is believed to be the resting place of Cleopatra, where we all know that they have located Cleopatra at this site, as well as other things. For anybody unaware, Cleopatra was the last queen of ancient Egypt. Again, I don't believe that this is thousands of years ago, like we've all been told. I believe that the previous civilization was what we call the 14 or 1500s, with a mass reset taking place and restarting everything beginning in the 1700s. And we have seen so much evidence of this. I believe that the great fires in every city, or I like to say great bombs, and the population data, the inventions flying at us over and over in the last 200 years. The state of the buildings that are all here today in every city that don't belong in our timeline, such as the Cologne Cathedral or the Milan Cathedral. Taking all of this into consideration, I believe that all of this together and much more, it fully exposes this. Cleopatra was the final leader of Egypt, supposedly. It marked the end of Egypt's reign as an independent kingdom. Now, who knows if these are just stories for adults, like we have seen so many times. But I do believe there is significance to these characters. These locations, they find text, tablets, and I am sure they find technology at these sites. And I'm guessing that the best technology from the old world is buried with these significant characters, these leaders of the old world. So finding these individuals from the old world is very important to the group today. Technology that may not be just physical, where we see that Gilgamesh asked Utnapishtim for the secrets to immortality, the technology to live forever, where he found a plant that can restore youth. Now, I know that a lot of people know what I'm talking about, and I'm not gonna say it because we all know that is not allowed. But when you know, you know. And it's very interesting when you see people that hold or have held power today asking for FOIAs, requesting documents relevant to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the current location of his body, and the location of buried Nephilim. Can you believe this? These people are actively looking into this information just like we are. Because whoever can find this old world technology may hold the power today. That's all a guess, of course, but our so-called guesses to this point, they're batting close to 1,000. We are not the only ones interested in the old world. We need to understand that we are all just getting caught up. This is and has been known for a very long time. Again, an exact replica of the tunnels in Greece. Tunnels that we are told are constructed in a geometric pattern. We have heard this before. That's right, the catacombs. And I'll ask you all, who builds on top of catacombs? Who does this? Should I just show you what used to be here? Should I show you what I think these tunnels really were? Should I show you what I think these tunnels used to be? Protected by our friends right here, where at some point before the 19th century, the 1800s, our timeline yet again, a church dedicated to St. John was built over the top of this geometric tunnel network. So the AI tells us today, there is no longer any water flowing through the tunnels. So I had to ask, why isn't there any water flowing anymore? The AI replies, the tunnel no longer carries water because it ceased its function a long time ago. Over the centuries, changes in water systems, natural shifts in water sources, and the development of new infrastructure all likely dried out the tunnel. So I replied, so we don't know exactly why the tunnel doesn't have any water anymore. A tunnel that was meant to transport water, supposedly. No water in this tunnel, and it's never had water since we all got here. The AI replied, you're right. There isn't a completely clear or specific reason why the tunnel no longer carries water. Now, this is all in my opinion, but this was not meant to be a water aqueduct. This was a tunnel connecting so much more underground, and I believe it may have been a geometric catacomb where a church consistently is placed on top over and over, and we all just go pay to see the old world buried below our feet. Again, this is all in my opinion, based on what we have found and documented accounts with over 100 episodes of evidence now, especially when we think logically. These are identical geometric tunnel networks. This one in Greece has a church built on top of it in the 1800s, and the one in Egypt, we are told, holds human remains. So you tell me, are we correct or what? Yes, human remains, including bones and mummies, have been found in the tunnel networks with important burial rituals, identical geometric tunnels that we are all told were for water, with one having bodies inside of it. The other has a church on top of it. If you ask me, it's not sounding like a water aqueduct anymore. In fact, it's not at all. The tunnel network in Greece is on this group's list, along with the nearby Pythagorean, and that's less than a mile away, as well as the Hieron of Samos, only 4.41 miles away. We know that these tunnels are all connecting these sites, right under our feet. The site contains ancient Greek and Roman monuments and a famous ancient tunnel, all connected for miles. And then we evolve and advance into cowboys, riding around on donkeys and figuring out what a pencil is, constructing huts for future presidents, dirt roads and living by moonlight, and wiping with our hands in the front yard. It's just incredible how far we've come. From the year -4000. It's very clear at this point, somebody's lying. In Samos, Greece, they have found a sewage system, public and religious buildings, public baths, a stadium, as well as townhouses and condominiums, finding over 3,000 objects. And we all know that there was more. Going back to our original site in Egypt, I just want to show you how incredible this place is. This is the temple that has a tunnel network underneath it. This is all right next to Alexandria, and I'll just let you know that tunnels extend under this entire city, and they have for a very long time. Remember, I think that these are catacombs. Before we expose this to the world, please hit that like button and subscribe. When you hit that like button and subscribe, the system pushes the video to brand new people every week. It helps share this information with so many more people that might have never even known that the previous civilization is right below their feet. This temple that holds tunnels that are identical to the ones in Greece, the ones that have a church on top of it, all supposedly for water, we are told. A geometric tunnel that doesn't even have water in it, with no proof that there ever was. Only 33 miles away from this temple, we unlock something incredible. The catacombs of Komel Shakafa, one of the most famous underground sites in Alexandria, Egypt. A large, multi-level underground burial site with tunnels, chambers, and tombs. And I'll ask you all again, do you believe that these geometric tunnels, just 33 miles away, were just for water? We were told that they found bones in the tunnels that were all meant for water. At which point do we start saying, yeah, that's not adding up. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a water tunnel to me. If it doesn't start adding up now, then we need to go back to episodes 72, 78, and 92. These episodes expose that the previous civilization is currently under our feet in so many major cities, telling us what the dead center really means. These catacombs are beneath Alexandria, Egypt, where we are told that over time, most of the bodies, most of the bones have either decayed, no, or they were removed. I would say yes. They were removing bones from this site. It is so odd What they have done without us really knowing or ever paying attention before this, with no specific records detailing the exact number of bones or human remains found within the site of Alexandria, Egypt, keeping no records of the bones that they removed. Can you believe this? Remember in episode 96, when they found 7,000 skulls underground and they had elongated skulls, and they hid them from us, and still do. It is estimated that the remains of 7,000 individuals were found in the hypogeum. 7,000 individuals were found. And though many of the bones were lost early in the excavation process, most of the skulls, not all of them, but most of them, were deposited at the National Museum. 7,000 individuals from the old world were discovered inside this underground complex, though many of the bones were lost in excavation. What? A small percentage of the 7,000 bones. They just told us that they destroyed many of the bones, have an abnormal cranial elongation. Why do you think that they removed all the bones? The skulls from this location. Why do you think this is? Do you think that they might not look like us? Would this expose their nonsense? I believe so. We have a clear admission right here, 33 miles away, that they had removed the bones. Now, do you still think this is a geometric tunnel just for water? I do not. I believe that we have fully exposed what that really is. This research is really incredible, the further that we go. A necropolis. What is a necropolis? I don't believe that we've exposed this question yet. What does a necropolis mean? What is a necropolis? We see them all over from the old world. The catacombs lie beneath the western necropolis of Alexandria, a cemetery, especially a large one, belonging to an ancient city, a necropolis. Have we just unlocked something massive? The location of where the previous civilization, where all of these people are now buried. Have we just unlocked something massive? A bone-chilling moment in this research, where we are all told that there are thousands of necropolises around the world, ranging from small burial sites to vast ancient cities of the dead. Thousands of them. I believe we are about to take this research so much further than anybody could have ever imagined in the upcoming episodes. Where the necropolis in Turkey, we are told more than 1,200 tombs have been discovered, with many of them containing multiple burials. Estimates suggest that thousands of individuals were buried there from the old world. Have we just located the previous civilization worldwide, containing the remains of many generations of people from different timelines, necropolises? Did you know that a necropolis is a cemetery, especially a large one, belonging to an ancient city, the old world? Are you ready to have your mind blown? Are you ready to expose where the old world civilization, an extremely advanced worldwide population, where they went? There are thousands of necropolises around the world, ranging from small burial sites to vast ancient cities of the dead. The Ming tombs, located near Beijing, China, are the burial site for 13 emperors of the Ming dynasty. In total, it's estimated that several hundred individuals were buried across these tombs, where the exact number of bodies is difficult to confirm. Due to limited excavations, most tombs remain unexcavated, all to hide where the previous civilization really went. Oh, wait, no. I mean, all for preservation, of course. The precise count of individuals under this entire site is unknown. Can you believe what we just found? I really think that we have just unlocked something massive. And once you know, you will know forever. There is no turning back. So, let's go further. When archaeologists unearthed the tomb of the emperor, they discovered not only intricate treasures. These treasures are old world technology. They found things at this site from the old world, 100%. And when we all understand how to read these sentences now, like we do here, these stories make so much more sense. The treasures that we are all told that they found include golden crowns and jewelry, silk robes, plates, cups, jade items. And then they found handwritten scrolls and ancient books containing Taoist texts, guiding and protecting the emperor's spirit in the afterlife, where we are all told today that the afterlife is a myth, where I'm not sure that these myths are so mythical after all. They also found weapons. Now, we also know that they have found so much more at this site that we're not being told about. We know this based on what we have seen and proven throughout the first 104 episodes. The Dingling Tomb is a part of the Ming Tombs complex. The texts and scrolls found in the Dingling Tombs were originally taken to the National Museum of China in Beijing, taken for preservation and study. However, many were extremely fragile, and some just deteriorated right in front of their eyes, right into thin air. They were just gone. Unfortunately, we are all told only a limited number of texts found were successfully preserved. Can you believe this? Or better yet, do you believe this? Do you believe that most of the texts that they found are just gone? I am not accepting that narrative anymore. I think that's a bunch of nonsense, if I'm being honest. It sounds like something you would say if you don't want anyone else to know what you found. Finding intricate treasures, like we've been shown. But going on further, where it states that according to local accounts, nearly everybody involved with the excavation then suffered from unusual misfortunes and illnesses, and some even died. The archaeologists involved in the site, after they were done, they died under mysterious circumstances. Right after, let's be honest, what did they find? Did someone not want them to tell the world what was truly found? I have no idea, and I'm simply reading what we are told. These are questions that you can all answer for yourself, but it seems very odd that the texts found are all gone, and the people that excavated the site are no longer here to tell tales of what they really saw. To add to all of this, we see that after the initial excavation, they resealed it up, and all future excavations of the Ming tombs were halted. The Chinese government has since prohibited further exploration, both to protect the tombs. No. It then goes on to try to scare us away from the site, saying they don't want to anger the spirits, but we all know that they're hiding what's in there. I believe it is the old world civilization. I believe there are many buried in this location. Tunnel networks, catacombs, in other words. Underground structures. These are sealed up to us today, but we know it's not sealed up to them. They are not preserving anything. These are the same people that wouldn't hesitate to bomb a city. They don't care about preserving cities. And this is all in my opinion, of course, but you get the point. Protected by our friends yet again, as of 2003, where everything was just fine for thousands of years until this group shows up, and I couldn't be more thankful that they love our sites. With no excavations since 1989, and only 3 tombs open to the public. So if someone were to say, no, they aren't hiding anything from us. I've been there. This is open to the public. Well, no, it's not. The Ming tombs were just found in 1956. Again in our timeline. Everything that we have shown to this point has all just been found again. Within the last 200 years, finding the old world's work, finding that the old world They were not just riding around on donkeys. They were not living in huts, and they were not going to the bathroom in their front lawn, like we're all being told. Living by candlelight and suffering in the summers because it's too hot and suffering in the winters because it's too cold. This is nonsense. That narrative is in the 1800s because that's when the reset took place and began our civilization today. This previous civilization that we're talking about was very powerful, a worldwide group, constructing elaborate burial complexes. Each tomb is a self-contained underground palace. Underground palaces that we are not allowed to go and see today. Finding texts at the site that are no longer here and have just dissolved into thin air. We all know that this site is so much more than what we are being told and is 100% a site from the old world. Check these pictures out. You have dirt with massive statues just in the middle of nowhere, or what we think of as the middle of nowhere now. These photos were taken between the 1920s and the 1940s, meaning that they were taking these photos before excavating the site and finding what was underneath all of this dirt in 1956. This has got to be one of the weirdest places that I have ever seen. Massive statues from the old world. Could this be any more obvious that the previous civilization held technology that we are not being told about? Constructing palaces underground, constructing massive statues. And this is not in the middle of nowhere. This is a pathway leading to the palaces that are all underground, and it's all incredibly laid out and perfectly designed, with a massive event taking place that covered the entire earth with mud and melted so many structures. We've seen this so many times. These pictures are incredible, and I've got to show them to you for a minute. Based on what we know and have seen, I believe that things were much bigger. The size of this camel that is depicted right here is most likely the actual size. I believe that so many of these stone depictions that are all over the world, and we've seen them on cathedrals and basilicas. We've seen them everywhere. They're in every single country. These statues depicted in stone were actually showing all of us what the old world was seeing at the time. And we know that there were things here where we all live today that we have never seen before. And I don't believe it was from thousands of years ago. I believe all of this was from only a few hundred years ago, like we have shown and stated, with a massive reset taking place very recently, within the last few hundred years, where we now see sites, locations that are not logical within the narrative that we've all been given. All of this is done without a power tool. Let's be honest, that idea is dead. So right here, to show how these underground tunnels extend underneath all of our cities, during the construction of the Beijing section of China's south to north water diversion project, a project that began in 2002, showing how much we have yet to find underneath our feet and still being found today. By our timeline, several important relic sites were unearthed underground from the old world, where they found artifacts and a burial site that shed light on ancient Chinese civilizations. Ancient Chinese civilizations. This is the previous civilization. The excavation uncovered ancient burial sites as well as relics, including human remains. Check this out. Here's the site. And this is what has been found. So when we all began this research, so many people would ask, where did this hypothetical previous civilization go? If there was a previous civilization, show me some proof. Show me the skulls. Where are they? Well, if you've seen episode 72, episode 78, episode 92, and so many others, you will now know that they are all right under your feet. They're buried by a layer of mud in so many continents. What is under our feet and what has happened here is so much more than we have ever been told. What we see today are structures on the ground. These structures could easily be removed from this place that we all live. They are not permanent at all, especially using the materials that we use today. I hate being the one to say this, but the incredible vinyl siding that's on all of our houses today, that's not gonna last 400 years. The stone, the marble, the granite, this material was used by the old world because it's not gonna go anywhere as long as it's left alone. The old world understood that the individuals that live here in the future, us, we would see their work, their construction, because it proves just how intelligent and advanced they really were overall. Not just in construction. It would also depict what they saw at the time. So they find these bones, and then they tell us that they uncovered 12 cultural heritage sites and ancient tombs, as well as the pottery. The incredible pottery, which we all unlocked this clue a few months ago. Seeing that they give us the pottery over and over so that we all get excited. And we all think that all they did back then was make some pottery. So boring. No lights, no tools, candles, and chasing the duck around to get its feather, all so we can write something down. And once that's done, they just sit around making pottery bowls all day. And after reading that and being done with the pottery, we all go on reading about the year negative 206 on the dot. And we all used to think, wow, these archaeologists are amazing. They know how to pin down the year negative 206. They did this by testing the local bush in Beijing. This is not happening. And why is China hiding so much information? If they were just transparent, had a camera in there the whole time, allowing us to visit these sites and see what's going on, I'd have a little more trust in adult story time. But time and time again, we see that the specific details of this location, about the exact number of bodies, were not fully disclosed. How many bodies did they find? How many do you think they found? I would guess thousands, maybe more. The exact number is not fully disclosed. This is just shocking. How can we fully trust this historical narrative that we've all been given, force-fed, when it's blocked off from the public over and over? Their findings are never publicly documented. The investigation is never transparent. Yet, it's absurd to think that their story about the year negative 206 is the real myth. Now, to show that this is worldwide, and to show that we are just getting started with this, we will travel 4,700 miles away to the Saqqara necropolis, Egypt, a necropolis that does not have an exact confirmed count of bodies under the ground. When we are told that thousands of burials have already been uncovered, they have found pyramids, they have found underground burial shafts that have multiple levels below our feet, all done by the donkey riding, no training necessary group of the past. No. This mainstream story is done, containing hundreds of coffins and mummies within each shaft alone. In 2020, excavations uncovered more than 100 sealed wooden coffins in a single shaft, showing that there is so much more, and the excavation is just getting started worldwide, all to uncover the previous civilization that is buried below our feet. Thousands of bodies found that we're told, and they aren't even close to being done. Where it goes on to say, given the size, it is estimated that tens of thousands of individuals are buried here at this site. The exact number of individuals here at this necropolis is challenging to determine because of the site's complexity and the fact that new discoveries are still being made today. This site in Egypt is 9 miles away from the Pyramid of Giza. So knowing what we know, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that these bodies extend under all of this sand and possibly go underneath the Pyramid of Giza? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I'll be honest, I think this is just mind-blowing information, and it is the answer to where the previous civilization is. The thousands of bodies at the necropolis in Egypt were discovered over multiple excavation periods, all starting in the 1800s. Yet again, even in Egypt. Our timeline, over and over and over. The first time that they found these bodies was in the late 1800s to early 1900s. And we know why this is. We have shown the population charts worldwide. Nobody was even here until the late 1800s. It was like a population of 14 people and their pet rock. Until, of course, episode 52 happens, and here we are today, where early excavations revealed numerous tombs. But it wasn't until 2018 that they began to open up to the public that there is more than just tombs. With most recent excavations led to remarkable discoveries, finding the 100 wooden coffins, preserved mummies, additional burial shafts discovered, hundreds of coffins, mummies, and burial artifacts, ultimately revealing a vast network of tombs from the old world, with thousands of bodies now identified, and many more yet to be uncovered. We also know that they've found technology, texts, within these multi-layered network of tunnels. It's incredible how far behind we as a population really are from the people that discovered all of this. If I'm being honest, what a clear disadvantage. A group clearly in control of finding and keeping the old world texts, their technology, and blocking it off from all of us, until of course, they are ready to reveal it, revealing some of it to us in the form of a cell phone, a car, a plane, a train, a computer, cameras, things that have been here before and are slowly being given back to us. All in my opinion, of course, but I do believe there is so much more. And in the early 1800s, it was this group that found all of these structures, this technology. And I do believe that this is why the archaeologists in China that went into that necropolis, this is why they weren't able to speak afterwards. I believe that they would have revealed that there was so much more found. The amount of technology that the old world had would blow our minds today. And as far as the necropolises go, we are just catching up. We are just now finding out what they really are and what is underneath the ground in these locations. But when we get done with them, with these stories that surround these necropolises in every single continent, every country, we are going to rip these pretend stories right in half. Long considered to be an urban legend. Tunnels that have now been found in 2015. The Puebla tunnels. Tunnels that are high enough that a person can easily ride through on horseback, extending more than 10 kilometers or 6.21 miles. And we know that there are more. All just found in 2015 under the Mexican city. Long considered to be an urban legend, a myth. These myths don't seem so mythical after all, where it states that things were found trapped in the mud flood, just like we've talked about so many times. Finding these tunnels in 2015 and then blocking them all off from the public so that the city could renovate the system and finally open it all up in 2017. What happened in that 2-year renovation project? And why did they feel the need to block the public off from these sites, from these projects? Even to this day, they are still doing this. We know that this is to protect the mainstream narrative. We know this. If the narrative was true, there would be nothing to hide. Remember when I say this: preservation, protection, conservation. We are just getting started. These episodes are in order for a reason. What if the tunnels that we have found are all hallways, all leading to so much more? The network of tunnels had been covered for decades, and the archaeologists who unearthed the tunnels discovered antiques in the mud. Is this not exactly what we've been talking about? This is incredible. A worldwide event took place. There is no doubt about it anymore. Wiping out the previous civilization, resetting us to the beginning, around the 17 and 1800s, 100%. With this previous civilization, a very advanced group of people being here, where we all live today, not as far back as we all think or have been told. I believe this previous civilization was here, what we think of as the 14 and 1500s, with many Mexican cities having legends about secret tunnels all lying beneath the streets, just like we see in every single city in the world. Finding it in 2015 and now saying that they opened it in 2016. But we just saw that they said in 2017. Come on, Mexico, get your story straight. Where now they just pinned down the date of 1531, all by asking the local goat. Incredible. No, tunnels. Where else do we see tunnels? Where do these tunnels always connect to? And why? 4 separate entrances to the tunnel were found, connecting directly to the church. Tunnels connecting to the church yet again, where we are about to turn this thing up a notch. The Los Remedios Church. I'm going to stop for a second and ask you all, how long do you think that this took them to build? How many years do you think that it took them to build this thing? This is the inside of the church that is connected to the tunnel that they just found in 2015. How long do you think this took to build? How long would it take us to build today? You know what? Let's ask their AI, ChatGPT, how long this would take to construct today. It would depend on several factors, and here is the estimate. According to the AI, using advanced construction methods today, it would take 2 to 5 years to construct the exterior of the dome structure. It would take an additional 2 to 3 years to complete the detailed, intricate interior design. So 4 to 8 years total, with modern advanced construction methods. But if we use traditional methods, using the tools that they had at the time, it would take us, the supposed evolved and advanced group with training and everything, 10 to 15 years or more to complete this church. This structure was constructed from 1574 to 1575, 1 year. And according to the ChatGPT, this is impressive, but not unheard of. And then tells us that this is a smaller, simpler church during that time. This is crazy. Again, May of 1574 to August 1575, it's done. And we also know that the tunnels connect to the lower levels of this structure. They tell us that this church was constructed in 1575. Let's pretend that this is true for 1 second. And the tunnels were constructed in 1531. This means that once again, the church was constructed on top of the tunnels. How much do you want to bet that these tunnels are actually catacombs? I believe that we have a very clear understanding of how these catacombs work. We have episode 72. We have episode 78 and episode 92, all for reference. They connect to the churches. We've seen where they connect to schools, as well as Capitol buildings. We have seen this so many times, in so many different countries, including episode 85. And did I mention that the base on which the church is built is one of the largest pyramids of the old world? The pyramid is under this church, meaning that there is so much more under the ground in this location. The pyramid is 177 feet high, covering 54 acres, and shaped by several superimposed structures. This is incredible. The old world was extremely powerful, and their construction is still here, all over the world. This pyramid is under the church, and it's larger in volume than the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. This is the Great Pyramid of Cholula. This is the largest pyramid by volume in the entire world that we've found so far underneath the dirt. And if you're having fun so far, please subscribe and hit that like button. Now let's keep going. Under the grass and trees, right here, we have the biggest pyramid in the world, as well as a tunnel network. And the church on top of it was built in a year. This research is unbelievable and needs to be shown to the world with an incredible picture right here, showing just how big this thing really is. Could you even imagine if they took this layer of grass off this thing? What that would expose. And I believe that we have just tripped up the mainstream narrative. We have exposed that this is a lie. Are you ready? Remember, we are told that the tunnels were constructed before the church. We know that the tunnels connect to the church, meaning that the builders of the church were well aware of what was underneath the church from the beginning of its construction. All according to the story that they're telling us. And now they are telling all of us that the Spanish didn't realize that there was a pyramid under the grass when they built the church on top, where we all know that this couldn't be further from the truth. Telling us that they just found this pyramid in 1910, where workers uncovered some of the pyramid's ancient structures. A fabricated narrative, 100%. We have now exposed this forever. A massive lie to all of us. This 1910 date was the date that our civilization found the Old World Pyramid. Everything before this date, the narrative that we are told about this site, is pure fiction. We have been lied to in every single country. These stories are just that. They are stories for adults. We all know that lies fall apart in a second, and they always will. In the early 1930s, knowledge about the Great Pyramid was scarce. Exploration began in 1931, our timeline, and after 25 years, they located the 8 kilometers of tunnels and then excavated them, which ultimately enabled the discovery of the 7 superimposed pyramids. This structure was not constructed in 1 year in the 1500s. These tunnels extend so much further than what we're being told. And all of this is being discovered in our timeline today. Within the last 200 to 300 years, what we are doing right now is showing this to the public. The finders have been finding these structures, these sites, for the last 200 to 300 years, and then giving us these stupid stories, this narrative that a child would never believe after laying it all out. Why haven't they removed the grass from this thing? Why is it still covered up to this day? Why is this thing still covered up with grass? We are told that they leave the grass on the biggest pyramid in the world due to preservation, telling us that the grass and the plants all help protect the pyramid. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's a joke. Taking the grass off and exposing it to the world could destabilize it. This is insane. And the grass that you can all see in your yard or at a park, this is the reason, the grass, that it attracts visitors worldwide. Keeping the grassy appearance preserves the historic character of the site. No, it does not. Can you see clearer than ever before? Can you see what's happening? And can you see what's happened for so long? This isn't the Monk's Mound in southern Illinois, where we all know that there's a temple under the grass, but they aren't fully admitting it yet. This is completely different. We all know that the biggest pyramid in the world is right under the grass. We know that there's a tunnel network right under here. And we know that they connect to this church. Yet they leave the grass all for protection. Now I think that this location in Myra might be the most unbelievable thing that I've actually seen. I can't even imagine going to this location and seeing it in person. This is so obviously a melted palace, now giving off the appearance of being a mountain, that the people of the 4th century BCE were just over there in Turkey carving palaces directly into the rock cliff. They had their chisels ready to go. Where this practice had been going on even earlier, around the 5th century BCE, all of this was figured out by Sir Charles Fellows. When in the 1840s, our timeline yet again, Fellows was just right over here at this point, and he climbed up this cliff, and then he smacked his head so hard in the 1840s and just came up with the date -400. Tell me how odd it is that Fellows can just wake up one day in the 1840s. He can go over to this site and then pin down the date -400. This story is so ridiculous. Nobody's doing that in the 1840s. This story should be dismissed at this point 100%. Now this site reminds me so much of Syria. They have a ton of similarities, as if they went to the same school of Donkey's Stone Palace Construction University. That the Donkeys Incorporated Club just went from town to town building palaces without a paper trail. These were the people that for no reason at all built palaces in Utah for a population of 5 and half of them were babies. Rain or shine, they would lay a brick that day. No bricks were ever left behind. They had the perfect amount of materials. No miscalculations on that. And we have no idea where these bricks even came from. There's no ledgers. There are no documents, of course. And this is what we're told. This is the narrative that we all just trusted until now. Thank you to the Donkeys Inc. Club. You are all amazing. And thank you to all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every single subscriber. Recently, we just got over 1.6 million views on a video on TikTok. So thousands of brand new people just subscribed this month and are here watching today. It's great to see this community growing. We are on YouTube, we're on Rumble, TikTok, of course, X, Instagram, and Spotify, if you're looking for even more content from us. All established in the year -904. I promise that happened. In all seriousness, look at the bottom of this so-called mountain. It literally has massive stone blocks, and as you go up, they are literally melted. Look at this. Seating 13,000 people. A necropolis, where we all know what a necropolis is at this point. A cemetery, especially a large one, belonging to an ancient city. This is a cemetery, a necropolis. We are not allowed to walk around the rock tombs, where I bet you can go deeper inside, which is exactly why they're not allowing us to enter them. I bet that it would expose that this is no random hill. Just like we saw in Mexico, I bet the pyramid is incredible and has so much more going on inside of it. It's not just a few tunnel hallways. We know this. They lead to so much more. Turkey has some incredible places, like we've shown. So traveler Charles Fellow finds all of this in the 1840s, where they are still colorfully painted, red, yellow, and blue. What else did he find? Because we can see, within the last 200 years, all of the color is gone. Yet we are told that it was still colorful in the 1840s. We are also told that they were constructed in the -400s. So for 2,240 years, the color lasts perfectly. And then 200 years, all of the color is gone. How does this make sense at all? It doesn't. Where the exact number of bodies in this necropolis is unknown, because many of the tombs since the 1840s have been damaged, looted, and left unexplored over the centuries, estimating that the amount is likely in the hundreds. What was destroyed here? What has been removed? And what is still here that is off limits to the public? All of us. In 2009, archaeologists detected an ancient city using ground-penetrating radar that reveals anomalies. They found buildings, and we all know they found so much more. Finding buried structures, yet again, just like we saw in Chicago in episode 80, finding a chapel from the old world, the previous civilization, identifying hidden structures, incredible detail, all from a supposed pathetic community. And all of our mainstream lovers, they want to tell us all about the earthquake from the year 141. And this earthquake just destroyed the theater. Who believes this anymore? It's crazy. Just pinning down the date 141, saying that there was an earthquake, and yeah, that's the earthquake that destroyed the theater. This is ridiculous. It's so insane to believe at this point. Take a look at this picture. Look at these two things over here on the right. How naturally forming does this look to you? Without a doubt, one of the most incredible places that I've ever seen. I wish that I could go inside and see how far into this so-called mountain it really goes. I also wish that I could remove the grass on top of that pyramid in Mexico. I wish we could go in the tunnels under the church. I wish that we could see it all. The fact that we are blocked off, the fact that it is hidden from us, this is the clear giveaway. This exposes that the mainstream narrative is not transparent at all. Their restoration work is hidden from all of us. Time and time again, we are all blocked off from the truth. And I believe that gives it all away. Do not forget what I just said. And don't forget all of the times that we have seen that something is off limits to us, all due to preservation, conservation, and to protect an old world site, as well as old world items. This is the beginning. We are just getting started. I asked their AI database, the AI ChatGPT, if there were any archaeological finds that have been removed from the public, removing evidence of a previous civilization that was here where we live today. The answer is shocking. Yes, there have been numerous instances where archaeological finds are removed from the public, all of us, where statement number 6 is the final straw for the mainstream narrative, a narrative that is taught to all of us since day one, a narrative that is being taught in children's classrooms in every country, stating controversial finds, items that could challenge established historical narratives, the mainstream narrative. These items might also be kept from public display, doing this to avoid controversy or debate. For any mainstream historian, this is the end. And for any archaeologist, you are now exposed. And this is just the beginning today. In fact, it's just the beginning of a massive series that we are starting right now as we speak. I'm going to be referring back to this episode time and time again. And to this point in all of our episodes, I've never needed to read something more. This page in their book will be the end of the story that we're all told, and the beginning of free thinking, the beginning of finding the truth, stating, advocates argue that the public access to such artifacts is essential for a fuller understanding of our true history and for fostering critical thinking about the truth, our world's true history, suppressing giants, with some findings in the Americas that suggest advanced civilizations existed, just like we've talked about before European contact, such as evidence of complex urban planning, where the mainstream narrative, the mainstream archaeology, dismisses it, which contributes to these artifacts that have been found not being displayed or discussed, hiding artifacts that would expose an advanced previous civilization, hiding them simply because it goes against the mainstream narrative, is exactly what we're being told. This highlights the tension between advancing knowledge, exactly what we're doing here, or sticking with the existing power structure in academia and society as we evolve this knowledge, exactly like we're doing right here on this channel. There may be a shift towards greater public access to the items found that are being hidden from all of us to this day. And I say that this is the beginning because we are now starting this series where we're going to expose the sites, the items that are currently being blocked off from the public, blocking them off, hiding them from all of us, an attempt that has been very successful for a long time to keep their false narrative in place. How many times to this point, when going back and watching the first 106 episodes, have we heard off limits to the public due to preservation or to keep looters away? How many times? This is the nod. This is the key, and we now know this. We've seen this in episode 98, where access to the physical artifacts may be restricted to ensure their preservation. We've seen it in episode 102, where it is no longer being exhibited to the public. We've seen so many examples of this, and today, it couldn't be any clearer, any more straightforward, that so much of what we are told in life is controlled. It's manipulated to fit the narrative that we are all given. And we are about to take this to another level. Episode 86, when we saw that the project is supported by National Agency of Cultural Heritage Preservation of Georgia, the AFCP, has allocated more than $1 million to preserve and protect the mainstream narrative, is exactly what I'm reading right now. This is a moment where our eyes open up even further, and we are able to see with more clarity than ever before. And once you're able to see, you will never go back. Understanding that preservation and protecting in the world of archaeology, this means preserving and protecting themselves, their narrative. This does not mean that they are preserving or protecting what they have found. And I want to make that very clear. And this is fully exposed now. The blindfold has been ripped off, and there's no going back. This show is a progression. It takes time to show people the truth. There is a buildup, a process. The episodes are in order for a reason. The AFCP, an initiative by the United States Department of State, just starting up in 2001. What a year. A group that the people of America fund through their tax dollars. A group that the world did not need in the 18 or 1900s. And I wonder why. Now again, I just want to clarify, and I don't want to be sarcastic at all. This group is amazing. We all know that they really are preserving and protecting all of our favorite sites. They support projects in over 130 countries, preserving tangible and intangible cultural heritage, such as historic structures, archaeological sites, and traditional crafts. They restore ancient temples and mosques, conservation of manuscripts from the Old World, textiles, and Old World music, preservation of significant landscapes. They are for sure doing all of this. Right. I know a few people that don't think that they're helping any of these places. Jebel Barkal and the sites of the Napatan region, Sudan, where the AFCP has funded conservation efforts at this UNESCO World Heritage Site. And we know this group very well, which includes temples, palaces, and pyramids from the Old World. You've got to ask, why are there so many groups that aim to supposedly preserve and protect sites that don't fit into the mainstream narrative that the exact same group publishes into the textbooks? And then they also fund the operation of teaching this narrative, the same narrative that they just wrote, all to the people at a young age in every single country. I believe that we have correctly translated their language. The words preserve, protect, and conservation, preserving and protecting their narrative is exactly what this means. And this unlocks so many more sites, so many old world places that is going to take this research so much further than we could have ever imagined. It will unlock places that have been hiding for so long. Jebel Barkal, a site that has been preserved and protected by the AFCP. And we all know why. The ruins include at least 13 temples. The temples were described for the first time in the 1820s. Again, our timeline. And never before this, with their drawings and their descriptions, in 1821 twice, and in 1844 documenting and recording significant architectural details. These documented accounts show architectural details that were here in the 1800s and have since disappeared. They're gone. And then the narrative just goes on without asking any questions. Like, what happened to them? How did they just disappear? Where you can see the depictions, the tents of the times, right here at the bottom. And then the pyramids in the background that they, of course, just found. These are the finders of the 1800s, our brand new timeline. With the pyramids at this time still having their tops and not yet blown off by the gunpowder, blowing off the tops of the pyramids within the last 200 years. What have we just found? Is this what they did in Egypt? What was the significance of the top of the pyramids? Why destroy the top? What is a pyramid? Why did the old world have so many of them? This site, the one that we're able to see today, is still incredible. What's left at this location after the AFCP has gone in here and preserved and protected the mainstream narrative, they still have depictions of the past, the old world, with depictions showing that there were beings here that did not look like us. And we know this at this point. And a palace that has been melted, destroyed, and completely turned into dirt. This whole area is mud and sand, with some sort of event taking place that wiped out this previous civilization. It is very obvious that something happened. This is not just from weathering. And I'm sorry, but this is not naturally forming, like we've been told. 118 miles from this site, we also have the ancient kingdom of Kush, with the AFCP conserving Kerma's treasures. Conserving. Let's take this further. While the primary meaning of conserve is to protect, preserve, or maintain something, the word conserve can imply keeping something out of view or safeguarding it in a way that limits public access, giving the appearance of hiding. But we promise, we're just trying to keep it safe, with examples being cultural artifacts. Artifacts or treasures are often conserved in controlled environments, like vaults. Keeping old world items in vaults. Could you even imagine, during a trial, saying that what they found is protected in a vault? And we promise it's just so the evidence is protected. We can't bring it into the room. But we swear they're there and we're hiding it. There's nothing to see and they're protected. Not putting them on public display. This is amazing. Environmental conservation to protect them from overexposure or human interference, closed off to the public. All of us. Our eyes are gonna ruin it and their eyes won't. It makes total sense. No. Confidential or sensitive materials, historical documents or artifacts may be conserved in archives where access is limited for their protection. And I'm just gonna be honest, these are all excuses to not let us see the old world, our true history, items that would give it all away. That there was a previous civilization here before us, a massive, powerful, advanced group of people right here where we all live. And their buildings, their structures, remain for us to see today in every country, in every continent. We are not the most advanced civilization to ever be here. We are not evolving. This is nonsense. And we know this now. Technology has been here. They were not constructing the Milan Cathedral with a chisel while riding around on a donkey. This story is nonsense. Where they were struggling in winters, dirt roads, and couldn't find any food. Not having a store to purchase shoes, and then going to the bathroom in their front lawn. And not having any toilet paper after they're done. Until we all show up and save the day in the 1800s. This narrative is done. It's over. Again, Kerma, located 118 miles away. Again, in Sudan. And again, more melting. And of course, containing over 30,000 individuals, the old world people. And then they give us this stupid distraction word again, the pottery, saying they found the burials, especially with regards to material evidence such as pottery. We know that this is the indicator that they located more. They give us the pottery over and over, suggesting they were primitive, sitting around making bowls, sitting around making teacups over and over, and couldn't put their socks on by themselves. They needed our help more than anything. And we accepted that and never asked, what else did they find? The first archaeological excavation at the site of Kerma was conducted in 1913 and 1916, not 1740, not 1630, and not 1580. Once again, in the 18 or 1900s. Our timeline over and over and over and over. This is the case. This place has been destroyed, all in my opinion, but based on everything that we've seen. I believe that there are looters of these old world sites, as well as destroyers, and I think they're the same group that's writing our history. Now, we've seen what they're doing in Sudan. I want to show that this is worldwide. I want to show that the truth is being hidden from all of us, blocked off from the public. When we travel to China and find the Terracotta Army, a collection of over 8,000 soldiers that was just found in 1974 by a local farmer. And then, of course, just finding it in 1974, they are able to pin down the date of -210 and -209. This is insane at this point. And all of this is incredible, but not even close to the best part. Are you ready? For centuries, occasional reports mentioned pieces of terracotta figures and fragments of the necropolis. Again, the necropolis, episode 105. A cemetery, especially a large one, belonging to an ancient city. Again, episode 105. This is a necropolis, revealing pottery yet again. Finding all of this while digging a well. The Terracotta Army is part of a much larger necropolis. Ground penetrating radar and core sampling have measured the area to be approximately 38 square miles. Can you even imagine how many people from the old world are buried here? This is unbelievable. A massive 38 square mile site that we are told is a necropolis. What else is not being shown to us within these 38 square miles? And what does this site connect to underground? Tunnels. Again, so many heads are removed, where I believe there were beings here, individuals that do not look like us at all. 7 of them right here in the front without a head. Do you believe that that's on accident? This series is just getting started. I cannot wait to share what we have found, telling us that they found rare animals, griffins, pits that formed the necropolis that lie within and outside of the walls surrounding the tomb mound, with the Terracotta Army statues, each having a uniquely crafted facial feature, hairstyle, and armor detail. No two faces are alike, meaning that we know these were not molds. The previous civilization had tools and were incredibly advanced. The figures are life-sized, typically 6 feet 6 inches tall. Some of the men had massive bodies. Again, giants, depictions of the past, massive individuals. They were all originally painted, but the paint came off after removing the mud surrounding the army, the mud flood, burying so much from the old world. And of course, we are told that a grave pit was discovered and excavated in 2003. Just finding all of this, with 121 skeletons retrieved, where they identify these people as the site workers, where we know that that's not true. And we also know that this is a necropolis. They just told us this. And there are so many more people than just 121 individuals across the 38 square miles. We know this. Most of the figures originally held real weapons, where the majority of these weapons were, of course, looted. Who looted these items? You tell me. Or they just rotted away. Not a chance. This was removed from the scene before we all got to see the old world's weapons that don't fit into the narrative. Again, what is really below our feet? I think that we all know that the previous civilization is, and I'm guessing that they still haven't found everything. With the main tomb of China's terracotta army, we are told that the first emperor of China remains unopened. This tomb lies beneath a large mound at the heart of the burial complex. The necropolis that was just found in 1974 remains unopened. Why is this? I believe it's to, of course, preserve their narrative, where experts fear that opening the tomb could expose that the mainstream history is a lie, is exactly what I see. Telling us that our technology just isn't advanced enough to open the tomb, where I believe that they have found text, tablets, like we have seen, that explain what's inside. I think they have technology that can see inside, or I think that maybe they've already been in there. And then we see that they have records describing the tomb, scaring all of us, saying that there is mercury in there. So it's way too hazardous to show to the world. They know what's inside. They know that something has been found in the 1970s that would expose it all. And I believe that it's inside of this tomb, with these texts that we are told about stating the tomb is said to be a grand underground palace filled with old world treasures, replicas of the empire, replicas of the previous civilization, with some speculating that it might hold even more intricate artifacts than just the terracotta army. And I think that's exactly right. All off limits to the public, all of us, all to preserve the mainstream narrative. A necropolis is a cemetery, especially a large one, belonging to an ancient city, the old world. Where did this previous civilization go? I believe that we are unlocking this today. We see that the Vatican necropolis, Rome, can be found between 5 and 12 meters below the St. Peter's Basilica, an underground burial site, especially a large one. The necropolis. What have we just unlocked on this channel? What are we showing to the world? The St. Peter's Basilica is a palace from the old world. This is the location that holds a necropolis 5 to 12 meters below its floors. This palace's construction, beginning in 1506, a civilization that we have shown, according to the mainstream narrative, were struggling to just find food. There was no Walmart, and they had dirt roads, all while wiping with their hands in the front yard and sleeping in sheds. This community just had some spare time to do some pottery and build a palace. This history lesson that we've all been told is complete nonsense at this point. The narrative is leaving out something massive, a very powerful, extremely advanced, worldwide population that was here before us. A group that was not suffering in winters. This group was obviously way more advanced than we are today. We all know this, with so much going on below the St. Peter's Basilica. Could you imagine really going down there and seeing what's actually underneath the floors and not just what's written about it? Telling us that the original St. Peter's Basilica was built in 7 years, in the year 326 to 333. Pinning these dates down on the dot. This is 1,698 years ago. Again, on the dot. And we all know that this palace, the one that's here today, is 100% the original. there were not other basilicas here in this spot. Now saying that the basilica was built on top of the necropolis, exactly like we've seen with the catacombs, where the catacombs and the necropolises aren't looking so different after all. Both being built on top of the old world civilization that's buried below our feet. Why is this the location that you would want to build a church? Do you really want to build a church on top of millions of bones? Why is this a good place to worship? Is it because it's acceptable in society? So much so that we all buy tickets to go see them. But if Walmart or Kentucky Fried Chicken decided that they are going to do this over and over, even if they decided to build their place on top of a cemetery, a very small one, we would all find that very odd. But as long as a church does it, everything's okay. Can you see very clearly now? Do you think that we would all go to this Kentucky Fried Chicken? Would we all say, yeah, that's okay, Walmart, go ahead? Do you think that this is an operation? Do you think that it's a great way to hide the fact that these bones belong to the hidden past? I do believe so. Containing the tombs of many popes and might contain the bones of St. Peter. Is St. Peter and all of these other characters mentioned that we've seen in the past, these individuals, are these powerful characters from the old world? And what else is down there that we just aren't being told about? Do they actually know where these characters are really located? Have they found the old world technology that I believe is buried with these individuals? Texts that explain so much more about this world that we all live in. What is the motive to keep this information a secret? These so-called myths, we have proven so many times that they turn out to be real. We just showed this in Mexico, where the legends became fact. Secret tunnels, all connecting to the biggest pyramid in the world that's buried under grass. And I have been waiting a very long time to show this site. We had to walk through so many different locations and get a full understanding of this topic before exposing this today, because I believe that this would have shocked people in the beginning. And if you're just joining along today with this episode, I personally suggest watching the first 107 episodes, because here we go. The Vatican necropolis, located beneath the St. Peter's Basilica, is a burial ground where it is estimated to hold thousands of remains. And before we go any further, did you know that the St. Peter's Basilica was sitting on top of thousands of remains? Before this research, were you aware that the old world is under so many palaces? Did you know that they hid them? With words like catacombs and necropolises, these are keywords, unlocking it all. And do you think it's just thousands? With the first excavations taking place once again in our timeline in the 1940s. We have seen this every single time. Nobody's excavating anything in 1492. Never in 1680. It is repeatedly after 1800. This 1940s excavation uncovered dozens of tombs, mausoleums, and ossuaries, or in other words, containers for bones. Lots of people, thousands of burials, and I want to clarify, we all know that there is more. Just discovering all of this in 1939. It hasn't even been 100 years yet, where workers stumbled upon the necropolis. Our civilization is the finders, just stumbling upon this stuff for the last 200 to 300 years. This was all constructed before we all got here, and I want to make that clear. It is being repurposed, reused, and explained away with ridiculous stories for adults. Finding it in 1939, and then pinning down the date of 326. This is not sounding logical anymore, is it? This necropolis covers 53,800 square feet, a burial network, all below the current floor of the St. Peter's Basilica, Rome. Over and over we see this, and we have seen so many times that these are so much bigger than we are told. And you might say, why do you keep suggesting that there's more? They're telling us the truth. And I know this because they told me so. Well, yes, people are allowed to visit the Vatican necropolis, but access is highly restricted and controlled. Restricted and controlled. What? Yes, there are areas within the Vatican necropolis that are off limits to the public. Even during the guided tour, many tombs are preserved and inaccessible to protect the mainstream narrative. Preserving the narrative. We have shown this. Reserving other sections only for archaeologists and preservationists. Who are these people? A group called preservationists. Is this a group we need to look into? Let me know in the comments. Considering what we know about preserving and protecting now, I'm going to take a wild guess, but I would say that this is something that we have planned for the future. And because some parts of the necropolis are highly sacred, you know, the good stuff, the things that would advance our knowledge on this topic, things that everybody should know, things that everybody should be able to see. Our access is restricted over and over, and they only allow the clergy, researchers, or Vatican officials in there. Now, what kind of researchers are allowed to see this? Are we not also researchers? You would need to submit a formal request contacting the Vatican office for archaeological studies, explaining your research purpose. Do you think we have a chance? We would also need to provide documentation, proof of our affiliation with an academic or research institution. In other words, do we work for the mainstream narrative? And then we have to await approval to make sure our research aligns with their interests. Do we align with the mainstream narrative? Do you think we align with their interests? Are you having fun? Do you enjoy the truth? Please hit that like button and subscribe. Beyond the known burial sites of what the public can see, there are tales of unmarked or hidden tombs, said to contain the remains of individuals whose identities were deliberately erased from history. What do you know? Erasing the narrative, not giving us the truth. Yet we are supposed to trust this group, and we're crazy if we don't. No. Hiding relics and artifacts within the necropolis, suggesting these items were deliberately hidden to protect the church, all according to them. And again, we're told that artifacts that challenge established church teachings or provoke debate may be withheld to avoid confusion or controversy. Hiding artifacts that they found to avoid controversy. How is this allowed? How is this even close to allowed? And why in the world, after hearing this and seeing it, would one person ever believe a story that is deliberately withholding artifacts, information that would spark a debate? At this moment, every single person should have open eyes. Every single one of us should be able to see that the narrative that we have all been force-fed is flawed. It is molded to support a narrative that hides the truth. It hides what really happened here, where we all live. What artifacts were found that would cause confusion or controversy? These are the artifacts that we should all be able to see today. This is incredible. The Vatican is also home to the Vatican Apostolic Library, housing over 1.1 million books and 75,000 manuscripts. Who can access this? All of us? Of course not. No, we cannot. It is not open to the general public. Only scholars, researchers, and qualified individuals with legitimate research purposes. These are the people that are granted access. Are you still on the fence? Do you still trust what you've been told? Me and you are not granted access, and me and you need special permission to see the true history, the true past about this place that we all live. And this is no longer a debate. The story that we are all given is fabricated. It's all controlled, and we have now 100% proven this. The only way for the narrative to be trusted is for it to be fully transparent, and we all know that that's not going to happen. Often confused with the library that we just talked about, the Vatican Apostolic Archives is a separate entity and holds historical documents. Again, I've been waiting to release this for a reason, and I think that we all know why. So let's go deeper. The Vatican Secret Archives, which has been renamed to the Vatican Apostolic Archives, are a highly secure and restricted collection of historical documents housed in the Vatican. All of this is on top of the necropolis that is also blocked off from all of us. So what is inside? 53 miles of shelving, 53 miles of old world texts with so many records still undisclosed, where only approved scholars and researchers with specific projects are allowed entry. And even then, access is limited to certain materials. The public cannot view these archives, which fuels theories about potential hidden artifacts or relics. Are we right or are we right? 53 miles of old world items and texts, all contained within its underground vaults and rooms beneath the Vatican City. Remember, this is all public information. The public just didn't care. Until now. Spread across numerous chambers and passageways. Can you even imagine what is below our feet? Could you imagine seeing this? Can you imagine what is in there? What books does this place have that would cause a debate and challenge their mainstream narrative? Why is it all blocked off from all of us? It's incredible that we all live here, yet we aren't allowed to see what they have found. Why is this? Why is one person born with the authority to tell everybody else, you aren't allowed to see the truth, and I am? At this point moving forward, the mainstream narrative will never be trusted at all, until of course these 53 miles of books and artifacts are open to the public. We should all be able to see what is in there. In 1881, our timeline yet again, Pope Leo XIII allowed limited access to scholars for the first time, where I believe that this is flipped. I believe this was the point, that they actually acknowledged that it was there and officially blocked it off from the public. I want to make this clear. I am always open to changing my mind if brand new evidence presents itself. I'm not set in my ways of thinking. If one day the Vatican said, come on down and read all of our books, it all proves that we aren't lying, then I would definitely be open to that. But I think we all know that isn't going to happen. The 53 miles of books is blocked off for a reason, by admitting the books are there, yet still blocking us off from them. The church has positioned itself as the protector of the mainstream narrative. Is this the group that is producing the Book of Lies, the protectors of the narrative? They wanted to take on this role in the 1800s. I believe it's the time to reveal the truth. These lies might have been really cool in 1881. This might have been the cool thing to do back then. Times have changed. It's now 2025. We all know that there's 53 miles of books underground. We all know there are places that are blocked off from the public that would show a much more incredible past than what we have all been lied to about. The truth. If I were this group, I would flip the script. I would begin to show the truth. I would expose the truth. Exposing the truth is so much more fun than telling a lie. I personally believe at this point, there are markers, such as the date of 1612, that symbolize the beginning of our current timeline, the whole process of setting up our civilization. Anything before this date is complete fairy tale in my opinion. Where the first century, the church had already acquired and begun to assemble a sizable collection of records, where they needed it for administrative work. And this resulted in loss of items. This is nonsense in my opinion. It's made up. In 1612, they tell us that they assembled a place to put the records. I don't believe that they constructed anything. I think this is the point in which they found all of the books from the old world, all underground, within this network under our feet. Or then they just skip right to the 1800s, when things actually started to happen in our timeline. Before this, the place was empty, and we have shown this. So of course there's nothing to talk about in 1710, because nobody's here. Scholars must know what they are looking for in advance. Access is granted only to specific files or documents based on their research topic. So even if you're on Team Mainstream Story Hour, Team Hammers and Chisels, and Donkeys Incorporated, which I do like Donkeys Incorporated, but if you're on the side of Hammers and Chisels, you can't just go down there and search through the catalog of old world books. You have to know exactly what you're looking for, and they'll go down there and get it for you. If you are approved, of course, where researchers must apply and justify their need to access certain materials. Nothing like being transparent. For those that think, oh, they wouldn't lie to us, they probably don't have any books down there that would change my mind. I believe that it's time to reconsider. There's clearly so much hiding going on. Some sections of the archives remain off limits to everybody. So let's just be honest at this point. There is information in here that would expose that these historians worldwide are completely wasting their time studying and then regurgitating all the nonsense. This so-called profession is as good as reading Tinkerbell to the kids. And honestly, Tinkerbell, it might be more truthful at this point. Can you believe what we've found? Can you believe the amount of information that has just been sitting here in front of us, waiting for all of us to see it? This is a game, in my opinion. It's so clearly obvious that there are clues, hidden keys, and connections that I believe has all been laid out for someone to find it and connect it all and then show it to the world. There are so many sites in every continent that hold the same exact keys. All of the old world sites are filtered through the same point, in my opinion. They are written by the same source, and the source controls exactly what is allowed to be exposed. We have exposed this. The necropolis underneath this place, the library underground. These things are not the only things under this city. It is a massive network of underground tunnels, structures, and we all know this, especially when we are all told that the Vatican apostolic archives are believed to be connected underground with other parts of the Vatican City. The archives are connected to other parts of the city? This is what we're told. This is unbelievable. These connections include the St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican museums, allowing for the secure transport of documents or artifacts. And then we are told that many administrative and religious buildings within Vatican City are interconnected through underground tunnels and pathways, facilitating discreet movement and secure communication. Also connecting to private vaults. There are underground vaults and repositories where sensitive documents, artifacts, and relics from the old world, this is where they are stored. Let me know in the comments, will you ever look at this location the same ever again? Can you believe what we have found? All beneath our feet. Like I always say, once you know, you will never go back to not knowing. This is worldwide. This is in every city, every country, and there is so much information that we are not being told. So many places that would be incredible to show the world. If there was a group out there that decided that it was time to change and expose the truth to the whole world, it would be incredible. But for now, we are here today. We know that these places, this information about our true past, is being deliberately hidden from us, and we know that it's there, and we are not allowed to see it, and I'm not sure that we ever will. But what I do know is that we are exposing these facts to the world. We are showing that this is all taking place, and has been for so long, and we are exposing the patterns, the dates, the keys. And as we continue to go further, more and more and more people will have open eyes, and we will all be able to see that what we are being told is not the truth. We will all have a much deeper understanding of this place that we all live. And when we visit these places, we will all know that a donkey riding cowboy, this guy didn't build it in a week, with no training and no power tools. I believe the more people that see this information, the less people are going to go into History 101 and take that up as their future profession. As we grow, the kids in the class will easily be able to expose the nonsense in real time in the classrooms, because the lie is so ridiculous. A lie has so many flaws, and we are growing for a reason. The truth is so powerful, and it's fun and exciting. Where the Vatican necropolis was used for a very long time, probably 2,000 years ago, maybe, profiting again off of this burial site. We saw this in New York as well in episode 77. Remember, we were told that this location is connected to the Vatican museums. Right over here to the right, zooming way out. Here is the museums, and here is the Vatican. Can you even imagine what is going on under the ground here? If you were able to remove the layer of ground right here and see what's underneath it, I think that it would change everything. Right here in this location alone, I believe that this area would change the world in a second, if all you did was just expose what's underneath it. Now let's zoom back here. How many of you think that this building is connected to the Palace of Justice? Take a look at this for a second. Knowing what we know about this area, who really thinks that this palace was built between 1888 and 1910 and needed a restoration project in 1970? A restoration project that just randomly leads to excavations and unearthing several archaeological finds, including sarcophagi skeletons. When we all already know that there is a necropolis right here in this location. The whole thing is filled with the old world. They didn't find any of this in 1888 when they supposedly built the palace? Come on. This is how a lie is exposed in a second. We all know that they would have found this necropolis in 1888, not 1970 during a restoration project. This is backwards. The old world is under the entire location here, in my opinion, finding bones all over the place. And we know that it wasn't just one person. We all know this. What an incredible location for our research, with so much not being shown to us today, with an admission that some artifacts from the old world remain, but so many were destroyed. And I don't believe that they destroyed them. I believe that they have them. I believe these old world items are very much alive and well, and are being taken great care of. You wouldn't destroy the incredible technology of the past. You would keep it. And then you would say it's destroyed, and you would use it. And then you would sell it back to the public whenever the time is right. And you would control the narrative. You would say that you created it. And this is exactly what you would do. I believe that this is what has been done. One of the most significant discoveries in the history of the world was finding the library of Ashurbanipal, Iraq, where they just found this place in the 1800s yet again. The library held an estimated 30,000 clay tablets in the 1800s, with the current state telling all of us that this site does not house the tablets anymore. So what happened to them? We are told that the city was destroyed in the year -612. This is insane at this point. Anyone that thinks that somebody within the last 300 years could wake up and have a cup of coffee and head over to the site and pin down the date of -612 needs serious help. At 6:15 p.m. in the year -613. No. It's negative 612. Negative 612. The city was destroyed by a fire and baked many of the clay tablets. We have shown the fire narrative and exposed it to the whole world. We have a playlist on this called The Fire Games. I personally believe that any story about this place that we all live before the 1700s is 100% fabricated. I believe that we are fed a bunch of AI narratives that repeat themselves over and over in every single country. So this fire from 2,637 years ago on the dot supposedly protected the tablets. And it wasn't until our timeline comes around that they finally find the tablets, uncovering a significant portion. Now, remember, rediscovery. This is just the discovery. We are not rediscovering anything. This is the first time that we found it. So they find them for the first time, no rediscovering. And then they take them all to England, where the British Museum in London houses the majority of these tablets. Very interesting. Where we are now given a location, which is going to unlock so many doors and allow us to go so much further, that the Vatican has 53 miles of texts and artifacts from the previous civilization. The old world, a very powerful, advanced group of people that we're all here and are missing from our mainstream narrative. These 53 miles underneath Vatican City, these texts and artifacts are all off limits to the public, hiding our true history, our true past. These tablets that were found in Iraq in the 1800s were then taken to England, where now they are not available for public viewing. Amazing. Wait, what is this? This only represents a small fraction of the total collection. The majority of the recovered tablets are kept in storage or archives within the museum and are only accessible to researchers or by special request, largely for preservation reasons. Preservation, all to preserve the mainstream narrative. We all know now that they are not preserving the items. They are preserving the narrative. They are preserving and they are protecting their story. I believe on this channel, we have exposed this and proved that this is the case 100%. Off limits to the public, over and over. The true narrative is not being shown to us in every single country. It's not just a once-off fluke, which shows that this is an operation and it's been going on since the 1800s. This is documented within the stories. How can a narrative be fully trusted if time and time again, the majority of the artifacts, the majority of the texts are off limits to the public? How is this the story that anybody could side with? This is not the story you'd side with. It's the side that you would call out, especially when we have mentioned this epic in the past. In episode 104, the Epic of Gilgamesh, where Gilgamesh wanted to live forever. He became obsessed with avoiding death, and he later reveals the existence of a plant that can restore youth. And I believe that the Epic of Gilgamesh explains all of this. I also believe that they have found so much more within all of these tablets and old world texts that are off limits to the public. Where today, I believe that we have just found the Epic of Gilgamesh's location, where thousands of tablets, including the Epic of Gilgamesh, were transported to England. Are you having fun? Do you enjoy the truth? Please hit that like button and subscribe. Thousands of clay tablets, including the Epic of Gilgamesh and possibly How to Live Forever, and other critical texts were shipped to England. They were able to do this by claiming that they were protecting the artifacts. Protecting the artifacts. Do we all understand that they are still doing this exact same thing today? They are stealing the artifacts. They are not protecting them. Again, protecting the narrative is exactly what they're doing. Protecting their narrative, a fake story, so that they get to keep all the old world technology, the old world texts, the old world information, and all of it is off limits to all of us. This is what's going on, and it's not a debate. Still to this day, claiming that they are preserving these 30,000 tablets. This is what they're telling us, stating that they don't want to risk damaging them through public display. This is nonsense, with other tablets actively being studied by the scholars, and therefore remain in controlled environments, only accessible to the researchers. In today's time, how are they just doing investigations, so-called studies, without a camera in there for all of us to see? The camera isn't going to bother the stone or the clay tablets. This is an excuse. How are we not allowed to see these tablets? We are being blocked off from basically everything that's valuable, just giving us all the pottery so that we would all just nod and go on with our day. Could you even imagine what information they have hidden away? We have found 30,000 tablets that are off limits to the public in England. We have also found another 53 miles of books in Vatican City under the ground. These two sites alone would change the entire world in 1 second if these items were open to the public. And we all know it, with possibly the technology to live forever. Now, some might not want to do that, and that's totally fine. But if there is a plant that's here that would make you live forever, just imagine what else is within those texts. The tablets. Whenever I say that things are being given back to us since the 1800s, from the car to the plane, the train, the TV, the cell phone, and the rest, there was an advanced civilization here before us. A civilization that was writing things down, putting them in clay tablets, putting them in books, things that were supposed to be here for all of us. And all of these things are now being hidden from us. Now do you understand why they are being hidden from us? The British Museum, an incredible place for our research. Back-to-back episodes, I believe we have located 2 places that hold basically everything that we need to know and are being blocked off from all of us. They are off limits to the public. And one of these sites being a necropolis. We are pinning this down, and it's incredible. Inside this building that is clearly from the old world, it holds statues that, again, have their heads removed. Their arms are removed, where I believe that they are hiding how many fingers they had and what they were holding, removing their faces, just like we have seen so many times, removing what the previous civilization actually looked like. Not everybody, but definitely some of them. 100%. Hold on a second. We need to zoom in here on this foot. What is going on here? Take a look at this. We need to brighten this up. Can we see that we are correct yet again? That these individuals had more toes. Even look at this little toe. What is going on here? We are seeing a depiction of the past. These statues all over the world were constructed with precision and with a purpose. They did not accidentally mess this foot up and then go on and make the outfit perfect like this. These hands, these faces on these statues aren't chopped off for no reason. And I want to make that clear. This is yet another thing that we have exposed to the world right here on this channel. And I'm going to tell you what, as far as the 6 fingers, the 6 toes, this subject is just getting started. Going back to episode 99, where we saw in 2 Samuel 21:20 that there was a man of great stature that had on every hand 6 fingers and on every foot 6 toes. He was also born to the giant. Giants from the old world. We will definitely be getting into this in the future, but just know that the episodes are in order for a reason. When we find 96 skeletons with a 6th toe. So who is it? Who is not allowing us to see these 30,000 tablets inside of this museum? Who is it? These tablets that were stolen from Iraq in the 1800s. Who is currently doing this? The museum director. He has the authority to grant access or deny it. His name was Harwig Fisher. When we kept scrolling down, we see that Fisher resigned because of missing items from the museum. What do you know? including gold jewelry, precious gems, and we all know that there was more. And we also know that this has happened so many times. So many times a director of this museum or other museums have taken the items out and then resigned. And then nothing ever happens. Let's continue. So now, Nicholas Cullinan is the guy. All of this is happening recently. Nicholas steps in as of March 2024. Now, we have never actually asked him. So at this point, he's not really done anything wrong, besides not make the 30,000 tablets fully accessible to the public. But again, we haven't asked him. So we can't fully be upset at him yet. Mr. Cullinan, if you're watching somehow, we all want to see the tablets and whatever else is hiding from our true past in the museum. You would be a legend for exposing them to the world. I do believe that it's time for the world to know the truth. But does he really have the power to do this? I'm not sure. Just to show how these people get into this role, there are people above his role that are appointing these people, including the board of trustees, the prime minister, as well as a firm outside of the museum. So who knows if Nicholas Cullinan can actually say, all right, guys, today is the day that the 30,000 tablets that we stole from Iraq will be shown to the world. It seems much more difficult than this, but I could be wrong, where he would have to go through the board, like we said, but also UK laws, the British Museum Act of 1963. Did any of us know about this before today? It defines how artifacts in the collection can be managed and prohibits removing the items from the collection, except in specific circumstances. A, duplicate items. No, that's not the case. B, unfit for retention applies to damaged, incomplete, or insignificant items. So it's not that one either. C, it was stolen or acquired unlawfully. It may be returned to its rightful owner. Well, now we're on to something. I do believe that these tablets were stolen from Iraq, and better yet, every single person here living today. This is information from the old world. I don't believe that it belongs to just one country. But if it did, it's not England, and we all know this. I believe that we are all the rightful owners of this information. These tablets do not belong to Britain at all, and that's obvious. They were stolen, and they were acquired unlawfully. Same thing with D, can be returned to their country. So by law, this is possible. These tablets should definitely not be hiding from all of us at this point. We should all be able to see them. If there is nothing of importance written on these tablets, then fine. But we should all at least be able to see this. And I also don't know how, at this point, we could ever trust that the ones with the important information on them are not just hidden away in some secret vault. And then they give us back the ones that say they made pottery on Tuesdays, and Wednesdays were for bathing in the puddle, and Thursdays was for story time, and Friday they sharpened their stick, and on Saturday they would hunt for the local rabbit that's just been driving them nuts all week. Sunday was for resting, and Monday was for palace building. It's insanity. It's also tough at this point. We don't know what's been done to them since the 1800s. We don't even know if they're the real ones anymore, because they've been removed from our view for so long. I do believe that we are just getting started, especially with this location. If they do hold the 30,000 tablets that are off limits to the public, again, what else are they hiding? Will we ever see these artifacts? Will we one day be invited in there to show these tablets off to the world and be the ones to show the world the truth about our past, our history, to show off what they found in the 1800s? Texts that have been preserved from all of us for so long. The preservation process is done, in my opinion. The timer's going off. It's time for the world to understand what happened here before we all got here, with possibly the most mind-bending thing that we have ever exposed on this channel. A stat, a true fact that shows all of us just how protected the mainstream narrative really is. Just showing how massive this operation is worldwide, and showing all of us that there is so much more. we are correct about it all. 100%. This museum is a multi-layered building with levels that we know were not being shown. The 30,000 tablets is nothing in comparison to what's being kept secret, away from all of us. According to them, their data, the museum is also home to 1,000 staff and over 8 million objects, where just 1% of these items from the old world are on display to the public, meaning that 7,920,000 items from the old world are not on display. This is a massive operation, withholding it all from us, admitting it all to us right here. If this museum has 7.92 million items not available to the public, how many other items from the old world are off limits to all of us, all over the world? 53 miles of books and almost 8 million items, all behind closed doors, all off limits to the public, all of us. Do you still believe what you were told in history class as a kid? I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'll be back next weekend with so much more. See ya.